The biggest nerd weekend of all is here now. San Diego Comic-Con 2024 has kicked off in earnest thus far. It is Saturday. You guys know that because when else would the Comics Pals be live? And we've got 2 days already worth of San Diego Comic-Con news that we are going to dissect, and we're going to divulge all of the biggest secrets and things to come out of the event. DC went hard. DC went in. They went all in.
Oh, shit.
They even reached into the vault.
I'm not sure what that means.
You will.
The Warner.
Yeah. I get
All right.
you now.
We've got so much to discuss from San Diego Comic-Con. The big two both led with some, some stronger than others, but some big announcements nonetheless. And we're going to get into all of that. We've got our number one DC event and crossover to get into a little bit later on. And we're going to have a great time today. Kale's here.
What's up, hot dogs?
Marco.
I'm all in.
Tyler.
Marco, was that a Shark Tank reference?
Yeah.
Jesus. All right. Hi, Sean.
Hi. That was how was that a Shark Tank reference? They don't even say that on Shark Tank.
It felt like it.
It
was right, yeah.
You should have said, for those reasons, I'm all in.
Oh, see that? Yeah. Gotcha there.
I still got it, though, so the body language did it for me.
And most importantly, you're here. The audience, the lovely people that are listening to us, whether you are here live or in the future, thank you for choosing us to spend time with and learn about all this San Diego Comic-Con news. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not. Channel memberships are open. Super chats are open. Let's get right into all of the exciting announcements from San Diego Comic-Con. And we're going to kick things off with what's on the marquee. DC Comics has led the charge into San Diego Comic-Con this year in a way that I think everybody would agree they absolutely had to. They have put the industry on notice that they are the ones with the hot hand right now. They've got the exciting announcements. They've got the things that you want to see, and they put all of that on Front Street at New York Comic-Con just 2 days in. We've got 2 days to go, and Saturday is, of course, the biggest day, and we've already got some major announcements from DC. What is the absolute biggest thing that DC could have possibly announced at this event?
Black Adam 2.
Oh, that would be big.
It would be big.
But on the comic side of things, it's the Justice League.
What?
Yeah,
The Teen Titans
absolutely.
are finally upgraded?
Whoa.
Huh. They would just be the Titans, right? Wouldn't that be?
I feel like they get like the title change. That's what you're striving for.
No way, man. They've been the Titans. They've been through that.
Nope, sorry.
Those 30-year-olds are going to be the Titans forever.
Try again next year.
30-year-old Teen Titans. Gotta love it. So DC kicked off their San Diego Comic-Con Thursday with the Absolute Power and All In panels. Well, panel. It was all one panel. So they really didn't waste much time. And I think that was really smart because they already showed us Absolute and All In due to solicits. So we already know a lot of this stuff. But there was some stuff that we didn't know that I thought was pretty pivotal to come out of this panel. So we had Mark Waid, Joshua Williamson, Dan Mora, Daniel Semper, and Nicole Maines. They were the creators present for this panel, and it makes sense. These are the ones that have largely been working on and will continue to work on All In and Absolute and the stuff to come. Less so on the Absolute side of things for those particular creators, but certainly Nicole Maines has been doing some good stuff with the Suicide Squad, Dream Team,
Yeah.
and she's been working with Dreamer a lot. So
She's an
for
actress.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
good
her
for
being
her.
on this panel was actually pretty cool.
yeah. There was a fun moment when Mark Waid made Nicole Maines cry because he praised her work with the Suicide Squad book, and she just couldn't believe that she was being praised by someone of Mark Waid's stature. And I've read very, very, very little of what Nicole Maines has done. Just what was in the one shot that we had read, the primer for Absolute Power. Really great stuff. So she deserves her flowers. That's cool for her.
Yeah.
She's the
Congrats.
actress who played that character, right? In Supergirl and the Flash.
Supergirl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so she's got chops, which is really cool. But then, the big news to come out of this was certainly Justice League Unlimited.
Hell yeah.
I'm so
That
happy
is-
it's called Unlimited too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get into that. That is the name, that's the title of the new Justice League #1. And not only did we get the name, we also got the creative team. It's Mark Waid and Dan frickin' Mora.
There it is.
Ooh,
There it is.
baby.
Easy.
I wonder
Layup.
what could have told us that beforehand. I didn't see this one coming at all. Surprising.
Good delivery.
I think this is about as good as it could get, creative team wise. I think for me it was really like Mark Waid or PKJ,
Hmm.
and I think PKJ's time is still to come, but unfortunately it's going to be a couple of years off because I suspect Mark Waid is going to have some time to cook on this. This is a big dream come true for him, right?
Has he ever
Wait,
had the title before?
He's
Just-
written the league before,
Okay.
but I have to imagine this is the time where he's got just about carte blanche.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And with a superstar like Dan Mora, at his side, like the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's funny, like even as like from like a fan perspective, like yeah, it's great for Mark Waid, but like ever since World's Finest has been out, everyone's like, yo, this is what DC should be. This is what feels right. This feels like DC Universe proper. It's like a fan cast of what a Justice League creative team would be. So Sean, you know how like in wrestling it's like, oh, they're finally listening to the fans sort of thing?
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting a bit of that here too, because it just works and it just feels right.
Yeah, I think this is about. I can't really imagine a creative team too much better than this. This is DC's apex team.
Yeah.
World's Finest is their big book, and I think transitioning that creative team over to Justice League makes all the sense in the world. So the Justice League Unlimited title, of course, popped Tyler, and I think it popped a lot of people. It popped Kale. It popped me. Did it pop you, Marco?
Sure did.
You getting pop lately,
right.
lately Marco?
I definitely am.
Very nice. Listen, actually, Marco, I don't know if you heard the show on Thursday, but we don't make those kind of jokes anymore. So everybody needs to. This is a wholesome podcast. We don't do that.
Oh, okay. I must have missed that part. I didn't get to the very end, so I must have missed it.
It was all throughout. I don't even remember when it started, but there was some spice. It was getting weird. But Justice League Unlimited, of course, is a very specific name that popped people because of the animated series.
Yep.
That was the name of the Justice League animated series that we got from 2004 to 2006, and it featured everybody. Thus the name Unlimited. It featured everybody. It was a who's who. It went well beyond the Big Seven concept, and it featured a rotating cast of characters that I think exposed a lot of people who were teenagers or slightly younger at that time to the vastness of DC's catalog. Most everybody could rattle off the Super Friends, right? But Unlimited introduced us to so many more characters.
And not only that, I think like having read World's Finest that Mark Waid and Dan Mora did, a lot of the arcs would just pop in a new character to get like Metamorpho would show up or
The
like
Doom
Doom
Patrol.
Patrol. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that idea for this too because especially on the cover, it looks like we're going to be seeing some cool things.
Yeah.
So Wade asked the crowd, he turned to the crowd during the panel and he said, well, what characters do you want to see in the book? And they threw their names out, they shouted them out, and he said, we're going to see all of them.
Yo,
fuck
hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
They also, they also showed off the Watchtower, which is back.
Ooh. Oh, damn, in space? Damn. Okay, okay.
Now, the promotional art that we saw is by Dan Mora, and it does feature a very specific group of characters, although once again, it is going to have a lot more people than this. But it's got Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, of course, Star Sapphire, Black Lightning, The Flash, Captain Atom, and The Atom.
Yep.
Those are polls, especially nowadays.
Double Atom action.
I didn't even notice the Atom until like the official image came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wedged in there.
I think he's riding the Batarang, almost like a Hawkeye Avengers bit.
Sick.
I think you're right.
Oh,
Whoa.
yeah, you totally are right.
I thought he
Hell
was just
yeah.
doing a cool Atom jump, but yeah, he's
Same.
on there. That rules.
Oh, that's so cool, man. When you get to do that, you get to like combine the power like that. That's fun.
God, I'm so excited for the Atom.
Interesting character inclusions. I feel like both Captain Atom and the Atom are deep pulls nowadays. And since we've been reading Crisis, like seeing how prominent sometimes they are sometimes there, it's weird that it feels like a resurgence. And that's interesting. This is a cool dynamic team.
I want to say hello to MP, Brian Adkins, Amin Perez, Spiral Storm, CW Gordon, Atomic Hound, what's up, Hound? Catherine Stars, what's up? Those are just the names I can see right now. We've got a whole bunch of you hanging out here. Thank you guys for being a part of this. CW Gordon said, when was the last time Firestorm was seen? Yeah, where's Firestorm?
Yeah.
I want
Nice.
him.
The MP, speaking of MP, dropping knowledge all the time, also said this is how you make the Justice League work. It's why Giffen and DeMatteis and Morrison have the best runs. You need to go beyond the big seven. The league is not a family, it's an organization. I'm 1000% with that.
Give people the opportunity to enter the ranks, right? Like I think there's a level of prestige here that you can wear on your belt as these individual characters, and then being able to say, "Hey, actually, this extends to you guys too. We really need you for X, Y, Z." That makes sense.
Well, Wade and Mora also announced that the Watchtower is coming back. And like in my mind, that was always an integral part of Justice League. You have the Watchtower, all the Justice League members can kind of hang out in and out at their leisure, and if something went wrong, whoever was available would respond.
Yeah.
And
ISS.
and so that's why I like somebody like Captain Atom would show up because he was there at the time, or whatever's happening fits his power set. If like there's like somebody at a computer, like a Martian Manhunter at a computer being like, all right, send this guy out. Like that just makes more sense to me as a response unit.
I have a feeling that by the end of this run, whenever that is, there will no longer be an unlimited Justice League. Just saying. I think it's an interesting concept, but I do think that it's a little too much. I think when you have access to literally anybody, it's hard to craft threats that can match that. So I'll be interested to see how Wade and Mora deal with it. But having a limited team does have some storytelling benefits that an unlimited team don't give you. So you can't always do this.
Please.
I was gonna say the trick is usually they screw up the Watchtower transportation system.
Yeah, something's gonna go wrong eventually.
Well, even still, the animated series, it still had the big seven as like the anchor characters, and so you'd have an episode with Wonder Woman and Hawk and Dove. But then toward the end of it, when the arcs started wrapping up or whatever, it was the big seven against Brainiac, Luthor. So I think you're right, but I think they can still work toward a core group to tell the main story.
Sure. So yeah, we've got our Justice League, and we spent a lot of time thinking about like who would be on it, and last week we saw the all-in #1 cover that featured some other characters that aren't on this cover. And it's funny because they're all here. Like they're all a part of it. So we don't even have to speculate anymore. We know we're going to see everybody except Jonah Hex. For whatever reason, Mark Waid said except Jonah Hex. And I don't know if that's if that's an insider or what, but
That's a very particular fuck you.
The one thing that of note is that it's Wally, not Barry. And it's also Wally on Titans in the same month solicits. Wally and Barry are on the Flash cover for that month, but Wally, I guess, is the only one going from Titans to Justice League for this, even though he's been on the Justice League before. It feels right.
Starfire is too.
Oh, true. Yep, good one. Yeah. I just like that it's Wally. That's just my Flash, so I'm happy to see him in the spotlight again.
I have to imagine with especially the unlimited concept, some of those guys will get that level up. We might see a Nightwing appearance in an issue. We might see Beast Boy. Can you believe it?
I also think we're gonna see Barry.
Sure. Yeah, he still exists. He's still there.
Unless he's off the board. To me, everybody means everybody. So there's it doesn't even matter. You could say anybody right now, and they're gonna be there.
Yeah.
I'm into this. I think this should be a fun ride. I like the idea that now Darkseid has reached a point where they need to bring everyone into the fold to stop whatever it is that he's doing. And that seems to be the concept going into this Justice League title.
I wonder if everyone also means maybe we get some villains that convert over. As well.
Sure.
Some new blood into the Justice League.
That'd be cool.
Captain Cold, come
on. Rafael Feliciano Padua says, really cool to see a Star Sapphire on the team. Wonder if the Lantern Corps will move towards an all-color integrated Lantern Corps. Well, first of all, Rafael, thank you for the comment. I haven't seen your name before. Welcome to the live stream if you've never been able to be here. That is a very interesting concept. Kale, has that ever happened before where there was a team of lanterns working together where it wasn't just one color core, it was like green and yellow and blue and purple working together?
Like the whole spectrum.
I mean, the spectrum was basically invented by Jeff Johns. Right. You had Sinestro with the yellow ring before that, but the color core didn't show up until Jeff Johns. So I think, yes, now that I've vamped enough to get some pictures in my brain, I want to say, while I think both Kyle and Hal both had like a series of runs where they both had to like master each color. And I want to say in those books, they sort of had a team of the different colors around them.
Yeah.
But it was never go ahead.
Amund in the chat is actually bringing it up. New Guardians, Kyle Rayner's team.
Okay.
During New 52.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I want to say it was in like the core books.
Well, that's actually I like that idea. I think that's fun.
Good concept. Good way to expand out even further, like that section of the universe, you can make it that much more expansive.
It would be a cool shakeup to see, or maybe a shakeup, maybe not. It would be cool to see the different color core have like a Guardians representative.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think the Green Lantern or the Lantern, side of the DC universe is about to get a restructuring anyway. So maybe we'll see some cool stuff like that come out of it because we know that's coming in October. Planet 628 says this will be a fun book, but with action and world's finest, they are forcing me to buy 5 Wade books a month. I don't want that.
Well, you're the only one.
Thanks for the comment, Planet. I haven't seen your name before. Yeah, I get that too. I mean, because action is going to be weekly,
Damn,
so
that's right.
it's going to be weekly action comics, and then World's Finest and Justice League. So that is a lot. But pick and choose. I don't know if I'm going to file. I don't know if I'm interested enough in action to buy it every week. It ain't Spider-Man. I don't think I'm gonna have to drop that probably.
Yeah, of those titles, that's the one where it's like you're gonna have to do something good.
I love the comments in the chat of people just tuning in and seeing the Justice League team because it was the same when the book was announced in our Discord and everything. It was like, holy shit, is that Black Lightning? It's just a whole bunch of that.
Yeah.
Which honestly, is, like, I hate to say good for you for a fictional character, but like, good for Black Lightning.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, everybody has an affinity for some character. So for somebody, seeing Captain Atom on here is a win. I don't give a shit about Captain Atom. But for some people, that's a huge moment. And that's the thing I love the most about this unlimited concept is that as fans, everybody's going to win. Unless your favorite character is Jonah Hex,
Damn,
everybody's winning.
did dirty.
Even you, Marco, will win because Swamp Thing is a DC character.
What?
It sure is. Sure, not on an absolute title yet.
Who allowed that?
Okay, is there a character you'd like to see now that we know this is the JLU, who you'd like to see show up on a story or an arc?
They will be there.
Ragman.
Batman.
Many of them.
Yes. MEN.
I want Hawkman. I'm a Hawkman fan.
Oh, you'll
And
definitely get Hawkman.
I
There's
know,
no
I
way you
know,
don't
but I
get
just feel like
Hawkman.
Hawkgirl sometimes overshadows Hawkman.
We could Constantine. Good.
Yeah, you'll get Constantine easy.
Yeah.
So we also learned a little bit more about All In during this panel as well. And we learned that All In Special #1 is going to drop the same day as Absolute Power #4.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay.
I really like that.
Oh, at least the reading order is pretty straightforward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep.
Except on that day.
Oh, come on. On that day, you read Absolute Power #4.
Yeah.
You hope.
MP, thank you for the $10 super chat. He said, really excited for JLU. I would like to see 1 to 2 sister titles to better show off all the characters. Titles I think would work are Justice League Dark with Wonder Woman and Justice League Task Force for covert espionage characters and stories. Ooh, take that Task Force name and use that. Okay. And Amin Perez with the €2 super chat. I'd love to see Mr. Miracle and Big Barda in the JLU.
Nice.
You will.
Guaranteed.
Definitely.
That's gonna be your answer to everything. Sean's like, yep, they'll be there.
Yeah, because that is the truth.
It is
yeah.
unlimited.
That's what we've been told. Thank you both. So MP, I like that idea of there being some side books, but I think again though, the concept is Justice League Unlimited. So if everybody is on the league, then does it make sense to have side titles?
Yeah. Expand on some concepts, on some partnerships.
or even like I like how MP says like instead of expanding on the partnerships, expanding like kind of focusing in on certain aspects of the DC universe. Like you don't really need Superman for a covert mission.
You don't? I mean, I
I mean,
don't
maybe you could. I don't know his stealth stats.
I can't really think of a mission type that I wouldn't bring Superman for.
Magic.
But
He's allergic.
Magic. Yeah, he's allergic.
they always say that, but then he just fucks up everybody anyways. Like Superman is a boss. Yeah, I'm a fan of the Justice League Dark, and I would love to see that team get some shine. If we could have a couple of other Justice League books, it would mean that, okay, yeah, on the Unlimited team, you could see anybody, but on these other teams, you will definitely see these people. I think those would have to be more solid character-focused books.
I think also the DC would have to be pretty confident in the output that they've have so far to be able to put out those new books. Like they have to feel like they're doing pretty well to require an ancillary book.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. And then Amin saying Mr. Miracle and Big Barda and the JLU, dude. I want Big Barda anywhere. I don't
Please.
care where. Put her anywhere.
Spiral Storm with the $5. Thank you very much. If they remember who Crimson Fox is, I would love to see her. Also, they have side stories in the books to showcase more characters. Yeah, nice little backup story. Be nice.
Appreciate you, Spiral. Who is Crimson Fox? I'm about to do some Googling.
Crimson Fox was the character they used in that Powerless TV show with Vanessa Hudgens. It was like one of the network shows.
Oh,
It was like a comedy 30-minute thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, she is a DC character, but that's what I remember the name from.
A metahuman from France with a superhuman physiology and sharp claws. I guess at one point she might have dated Hal Jordan.
I appreciate Spiral for the fact that this character is like super obscure, but and it proves the point from earlier. Like everybody loves someone. Crimson Fox is fucking random, but Spiral is in our chat saying we need this character. Like bring her back.
And it looks like she was in Justice League Unlimited, the
I was
cartoon.
just about to say, yeah.
And guess what? You're gonna see her because Mark Waid said so.
Hell yeah.
Although in JLU, she wasn't red, but she was called Crimson Fox. Interesting.
Right, I'm looking at these pictures and she's definitely not red on the show.
She's
but
like brown. What the hell?
yeah, very odd. Yeah, thank you, Spiral. Appreciate all of you so far with those super chats. That's really great. Okay. So we're getting both of those books on the same day. Absolute Power 4 and All in number 1. I love that idea. I think that's really smart. We learned also that this has been in the works for years. All in as a concept for years. Scott Snyder has talked at length now about, leaving DC and looking at where things were at and superhero fatigue and everything else, and feeling like they needed to bring the fun back to superhero comics and get people excited about it again. And he gave a similar rah-rah speech to what Marvel's boss gave a few months ago that we talked about on this show, where he talked Snyder did about wanting to bring people back to comic book stores. He talked about wanting to do things to incentivize people to go back to the store, to do contests and incentives and, things like that. A reason to celebrate DC's heroes. And they talked about how All In is an initiative and not just a line of comics. I love this energy. And think about the difference between DC's messaging and Marvel's. Dan Buckley told us that their goal was to get people back in shops and everything else. But that's not a creative person. That's an executive person.
They went about that by putting QR codes where they hide the last page of the comic behind a digital paywall.
Right. Whereas DC is trotting out their creative people the ones who are actually going to be working on the books to deliver the message. That gives me a vibe about what the expectations are.
They did that with Skybound when we were at NYCC. That was the big push was, lead with the creators who are going to be talking about and discussing and writing the books. It
Yeah.
builds confidence. Yeah, you're right. Same with Ghost Machine. Well,
And I was reading Rich Johnson's Bleeding Cool, like the bar talk of San Diego Comic-Con. And it seems like the buzz around this all-in initiative is positive, even from all the creators in the industry. There's a good aura about it that people are enjoying.
We've got 60 plus of you with us live right now. Make sure you smash that like button. I love to see the green names in the chat. Those of you who are channel members, I want to see some Pals heads. Let's go. Pals heads up for Comic-Con 2024. Let me see those. We're gonna. Well, I was gonna say we're gonna play a game a little later if we get to a certain likes goal, but quite frankly, I don't even know if we're gonna have time because not only do we have to get through all of this, but we're reviewing Deadpool later. Deadpool and Wolverine.
oh yeah.
Not on this stream. So if you're worried about spoilers, there won't be any spoilers for that here. We're gonna go live again a little later on, and we're gonna talk Deadpool and Wolverine. So you don't have to worry about any spoilers. Atomic Hound dropping the $9.99. Atomic Hound says DC has come a long way from the stumbling Dark Crisis and Dawn launch with Night Terrors. This feels like a company with vision and momentum finally.
Yep.
I completely agree with that.
Direction. There's direction. There's an idea forward. Like that's all you ever need for these things. And Dark. I like the way you say stumbling. Dark Crisis. That's what it felt like. Especially the name change halfway through.
Yeah, I agree. I think DC is trying to really renew themselves with this. So moving forward, love to see all the
The Pals heads.
all the Pals heads.
Yeah,
That's
it came
fucking-
in a flurry.
Hell yeah. I'm all about that. I'm all in on that. Okay. So moving forward, there was a Jim Lee and Friends panel at Comic-Con. So like, the Cup of Joe type thing where, the man in charge comes out and they'll have a little sit down chat and typically bring out a few creator friends, make some hype announcements, things like that. The Jim Lee and Friends panel did not disappoint. Jim Lee brought out Scott Snyder, Joshua Williamson, and Tom King, representing them as the architects of DC. Although I don't know if Tom King fits that bill necessarily right now, but okay. Fair enough. They talked about some of their books that they've got coming up, and I want to reference some of that stuff a little bit later, but the marquee announcement coming from this particular panel was the announcement of Absolute Green Lantern.
Let's go.
Hell yeah. Now, we, of course, already kind of knew what this was going to be because we've been following the rumor mill, but we did get the official announcement of Al Ewing and Janoy Lindsay. Janoy Lindsay has a credit on Superboy, the Man of Tomorrow.
That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
The art on that book was really good.
definitely. And so those are the things that we knew. What did we not know? We did not know who the Green Lantern of this book would be. And you know what? We still don't.
Huh?
We still don't. Because the only thing we got was a bit of character artwork, some sketch work. Oh,
Is this not Joe?
actually, it is Joe.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was Joe.
Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait, hold on a second.
Yeah, I didn't read that it was Joe either.
Yeah.
She got the new look, bro. Got the whole fucking braids. Cool, dude.
Okay.
Wait, live reaction now. Okay, Sean, how are you feeling? Give me a take.
That's hype as fuck.
Hell yeah.
This is the decision that I didn't think they would make, that I am so glad that they did. I figured, okay, if they're going to be ballsy, Jon Stewart. But this is it. This is it. Put this girl on Front Street. Put Joe on everything. This is what they needed to do. Far Sector was a hit.
I mean, I talked about how Far Sector was one of the first books to put out in the Compact series. Like, I think they have good, like, big plans for Joe, honestly.
Oh, that's a good point. Get that familiarity out there,
Yeah.
prep some people with that. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. This is cool. I love this character. I feel like when we were discussing, who it could be, I think I threw her name out there. This is just a character that can be very versatile, and I think just off the back of the success of Far Sector, came into her own, and I haven't felt that for a modern DC character. So I think this is a perfect choice to keep pushing her now story.
Hell yeah.
And based on the costume design, which I like how the green is, it's not a typical Green Lantern green. It's a little more neon, a little more kind of like a cyberpunk color green. But she doesn't really have, it doesn't look like she has a ring. It almost looks like there's something in her chest that's kind of being the source of power. So I wonder if the concept is that there isn't a ring for the Green Lantern.
You know what? Just off this this image, that looks like the old Ion symbol.
Oh, that's a good
Which was
point.
like,
yeah,
that was what the essence of the Green Lantern battery was called, was Ion. And so when that inhabited you, you were Ion and you were all powerful. Kyle had that for a while. Then a guy called Sodom Yat
yeah, Sodom Yacht, yeah.
had a real cool concept.
Well, wasn't there a moment she ran out of battery and like found the will to overcome that in Far Sector? Am I misremembering that?
I feel like you're right.
So she has some kind of like ability to focus her will outside of needing a ring. But I mean, either way, like, cool.
It seems like that's pretty common among the lanterns right now.
So the only other details we really got about this, unfortunately, neither Al nor Janoi were present, so they weren't able to speak to it. But we learned that it's going to be a first contact style story, and it's going to impact several of the lanterns. They talked about Hal, John, and Sojourner. They also said that it would be a complete reimagining of the property. So we really don't know anything in terms of what it's going to be. We don't even necessarily know who's really going to be a lantern or not. Like it's I think there's a lot of intrigue here, and I'm excited maybe most for this series so far of the Absolute books because we know so little.
I think even with Joe as the main character, with so little being known about her, even now, that's the most interesting shakeup we've seen.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, Tyler, just want to say welcome to MP deciding to join the channel as a channel member. Thank you for that, MP.
Finally.
I was going to say, like, it looks, based on the art that we were given, and it's very little, everyone looks to be in civilian clothes, or at least Earth clothes. And I'm wondering if, and describing it as like a first contact thing, I'm wondering if like the Green Lanterns in this world could just be a CIA-esque organization that deals with alien life. And Sojourner's one of them. And yeah, it's X-Files, and she just gets a power from access to something like in First Contact. And it completely throws open Earth's, I guess, relationship with outer space.
I was kind of coming at it from, because of that nugget there, Star Trek, like they have an initiative to sort of bring other planets and other worlds into the fold. Like we might go to Tehran, we might end up at, I guess, Hawk World or something.
So Earth finally unlocked hyperspace travel. So
that's
Green
exactly what I was about to say.
we're allowed.
Maybe the unlocking of a lantern was our access to space or whatever.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Rad. Hell yeah, this is hype.
I can't wait for this. And Scott specifically said that this book was as good as anything else Al has done and referenced Immortal Hulk and said it's as good as Immortal Hulk.
Hell yeah.
Scott's not going to say, well, you know, it's pretty good. It's not as good as Immortal, but it's really good. He has to do this. But I literally have no reason not to trust Al Ewing.
Man, from the Green Door to the Green Lantern, I'm okay with that.
The only Al Ewing book that I just thought sucked ass was New Avengers. And that was a long time ago and in a galaxy far, far away. I think that he's better now. I also don't think that was a good fit for him. Everything I have seen him on since then has been nothing less than really strong. And some of it has been literally great comics. So I'm hyped for this. We got some more tidbits, though, about the other Absolute books as well. So I thought we could go over those now, too. We learned a little bit more about Absolute Batman from Scott Snyder. He talked about how this is a Batman who, you know, doesn't have any of the money or any of the trappings that you typically associate with Batman. Snyder said he doesn't want this to be a Batman who's a part of the system at all. He's going to have a completely regular job. He's just going to be a regular worker, city engineer, construction worker, in fact.
Huh.
He's going to be a young man in his 20s, 6 feet tall, but 7 feet when he's in the bat suit.
I was just looking at that. I was so
Yeah, it's like
He's wearing lifts.
he's wearing those Hot Topic boots.
yeah.
I don't really care for that.
The size.
It's almost like an exoskeleton in a way.
Yeah, I don't like that. And also, how does a construction worker afford to make this? Like, that's kind of
stealing stuff.
Tim's are putting out some new shit now.
And where's he gonna find the time? I work retail, and you think I'm gonna be a superhero at night? I can't even wait for dinner to be ready when I come home. I fall asleep on the couch.
He's also gonna have a dog. He's gonna have a Frenchie, so bat dog.
French bulldog.
Yeah,
A bat-eared French bulldog, I think, is how they specifically mentioned that one. Yeah.
Interesting. No ace.
Alfred is going to be an MI6 agent who goes to Gotham to kill a target, to find a target, and he encounters Bruce there somehow, some way.
Huh.
I don't have the image of Alfred on the slide, but he had that shit on. He looked cool.
So we're starting Batman without the support network, but the support network will come.
Sure. Yeah. In different, seemingly different ways. Like he will be an MI6 agent versus a butler, or
Well, you mean versus a butler with a past
Sure.
as a British MI6 agent?
Yeah.
I wonder how you can do the Batman's parents were killed thing here, because if he's not rich, they're not going to be mugged for their money seeing, a theater performance. How do you, like, I don't know, is it like pour drinking water from the city, it poisons them? Like,
It's been
Killed by crime.
It's been the Mask of Zorro for fucking years.
oh, true. Yeah.
Decades at this point. It wasn't even a theater performance. At this point, he could be walking out of Batman and Robin, and that'll be where his parents were killed.
What were people saying when the Robert Pattinson movie came out? It was like, Batman's parents were probably watching Shrek at the time, because that lines
Something
up.
like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I really don't care for the Alfred portion, actually. I think we'll see how it plays out. I was really looking forward to not having an Alfred, because I just don't like, if the point is to take away, like, is Clark gonna meet Ma and Pa Kent?
He'll be on a Kryptonian study abroad program, and Ma and Pa Kent will be,
I don't know. I just think like get rid of him and let Bruce have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing. For the Wonder Woman part, Kelly Thompson was not present. I don't believe Hayden Sherman. Hayden
was
may
there.
have been
Yeah.
present. Hayden
Yeah, he
was
was
present.
there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so we learned that this is a Wonder Woman who is the last Amazonian to be alive. So that's kind of an interesting
Huh.
premise, and also the first superhero.
Okay.
That's an interesting idea. And funnily enough, that was something that they were going to do with 5G, where they were going to twist the history to make it so that Wonder Woman was the first hero.
And that's what the Snyderverse did too.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the new identity for Wonder Woman, and I like that a lot. I think that's really smart.
Well, it also says she was raised in the underworld as opposed to, on Themyscira, so she probably has different values, a different value system. Riding her black skeletal Pegasus, like this is I would imagine a warmongering Wonder Woman potentially, or at the very least more open to something more extreme, which is an
Evil.
interesting twist.
Probably has some really cool gear as opposed to like a lasso of truth or a tiara, if it's forged in the underworld.
Looks like she
Yeah.
still has the tiara.
Sure. I don't know if it's as aerodynamic, but
I agree with Mike Elliott. We need Alfred back in mainline, not an absolute.
Make failsafe the new Alfred.
Kale, why would you say such a thing?
Damn, I just solved it.
The Wonder Woman news is really cool.
Yeah.
This is an exciting book. This feels like a pretty radically different version of Wonder Woman. She's got the badass tattoos, the swords, the skeletal horse. Like, this is just cool as shit. And I can't wait to see what Kelly Thompson is going to do with this version.
Oh, and it's Kelly. Oh, yes.
Where you been, Marco?
I forgot that it was. I remembered Hayden.
The first thing he said, and then Marco just blanked out.
Yeah, I was reading a comment.
Dan says Hades is an evil. She could still be raised with a strong moral code.
Sure.
Okay.
But it'd be more fun if she was.
I'm getting like kind of Kratos God of War feels from it too.
Or Zag from Hades, Zagreus from Hades.
Sure. That sexy name. Yeah.
Hades from Hades.
DV says the dude doing the art is fantastic. It will be worth it for that. Assuming you're talking about Wonder Woman, DV, Hayden Sherman is super talented. Yeah. Oh, I mean, frankly, all the artists that we're talking about, absolute wise, are awesome. But yeah, I completely agree. And this promo art being a taste of things to come, this is just like, this is amazing. And thank you for the comment, DV. Appreciate you. We also learned some more details about Jason Aaron's Absolute Superman, Aaron Sandoval's Absolute Superman. Aaron talked about how this is a Superman that is sort of treated as if Superman was from today, the modern world. He talked about, Krypton exploding being the only thing that he would like commit to as definitely still having happened. So that sort of leaves up in the air how Superman gets to Earth. He says that this is a Superman story fans will not expect, and that Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman will not instantly come together as friends. I love that. I think that would be a mistake. We need this world to feel larger. And I think that the mainline DCU and any, universe like this feels smaller the more that your characters intersect. So giving it some time to feel wild and large and like these characters are just so distant from each other. Like, I don't want them to just meet up right away. I want there to be some time apart.
Makes sense.
Go ahead, yeah.
The idea of a Superman of the modern age is interesting too, because Superman is such a product of when he was created, and the idea of what the ideal American would be like where like I don't think that really exists anymore in a modern sense. There's no standard ideal of what could be. So I'd be
Ah.
curious to see, how do you form a modern Superman? What ideals does he take from? There is no ideal, and that's the point.
It's not truth, justice, in the American way anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Capitalism.
Jason Aaron will put him in prison, so that's his thing.
Definitely not the American way. Can't say
No,
that shit
that's the
anymore.
American. That's the American way, is putting people in prison.
Oh, well.
The art here looks dark, a little brooding, and so I'm curious if the thing that fans won't expect is that he's also antagonistic, which doesn't feel like much. So I'm a little wary of this one based off of how much we don't know in not great ways, and the art itself.
Triple O says open carry Superman.
I mean, he looks like he's got the right to bear arms right now. Those laser fists he's got going on.
So Aaron also talked about how he's looking to make this version of Superman a character where, his backstory is that things don't go great, and he's not wrapped in a cocoon of safety and security his whole life, and how that's going to make him edgier, and he says sexier, and
Quote.
angrier, which you can definitely see that from this promo piece that we got by Rafa.
Yeah.
It embodies all of those things, I would say.
Yeah, that wheat didn't stand a chance.
We get a cover of Absolute Superman #2 that shows off Superman facing off with peacemakers, and the phrase "Lazarus's life" is written in the dirt. Okay. And then this story is going to start in Brazil.
Whoa, interesting. Okay.
A country with no actual turmoil going on right now.
Well, I wonder if that's the point. I wonder
Yeah.
if that's the anger that Aaron wants to tap into.
A man of the people, but in a modern sense.
Yeah, somebody who could actually go to those places and fight the powers that be for being shitty.
Like a revolutionary Superman. I feel like
Yeah.
Superman has always been like, well, I don't want to get too involved. You know what I mean? He's always kind of towing the line sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh, okay.
All right. I'll come
So-
around to that.
So Brazil actually makes quite a bit of sense.
Reminds me of Ultimate Thor
Yeah,
and how he was an environmentalist.
yeah.
I'm into it.
I'm still not totally sold, but also see how it goes.
Aaron said that we would definitely get to Kansas at some point in the book. Aaron notably is also from Kansas, so he's the first Superman writer to be from Kansas,
Wow.
and he's not gonna have him in Kansas. I kind of don't think that matters. Like, why should Superman be Kansas based, or why should there be a period of time where he goes to Kansas in Absolute?
Yeah. Especially without the Kent connection.
Right. That the only reason he's there is because that's where he ended up. And that's who took him in. So what's the point? Like, I don't want them to so quickly just get them back into the trappings that we're used to. Like, if this Superman ends up working at the Daily Planet and, meets Lois, that like we've seen that. That's not the point of this, right? I thought. I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
What would the modern version of his job be now? Twitch streamer? Podcaster?
Yeah.
I think leaning into him being some kind of environmentalist or some kind of person who, who does something like that could be compelling. It keeps that humanitarian aspect of Superman, but it modernizes it and it makes it a little bit more radical.
He needs to stop the forest fires in Borneo.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
God.
No.
That's
No.
Holy shit.
That's it.
Sound like you're building to that, Sean.
I really truly was not. Wow.
Oh no.
It says he'd be a kick streamer. No. No.
That's radical in a different way.
Superman doing gambling streams.
Oh,
Rami says political blogger, but they tried something like that in the later stages of the New 52. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here, but Clark quit the Daily Planet and went to start his own website that ended up being very Drudge Report-esque.
I think I remember this. Yeah.
Get him on the ground, put him in front of a selfie camera, you're good.
Mean says, what if he's similar to Flashpoint Superman? The government intercepted his ship.
Well, that's just Flashpoint Superman. We've had that. No thanks.
That
It's the thing with that though is that I actually felt like absolute Flashpoint Superman was a really interesting concept that the trappings of Flashpoint didn't allow space to analyze or dig into. So if it were to take that like base concept and then expand it out and we got to see where that could go, I'm compelled by it. And they do say that this is a Superman where things didn't go right for him. What does that mean? Because if he discovers his powers on his own, if he lands somewhere in the world with no parentage, no family, that's a very dangerous proposition. Something has to rein that in, right?
well, wasn't also part of the premise that all of the character at their core is staying the same, so he might still be the hopeful, positive individual that he can be, and amidst that adversity, come out superseding and powerful.
Well, it's nature versus nurture. What makes Superman Kal-El the man that he is? Well, when we first meet him, he's an adult, whatever.
Right.
But like when he first crash lands, he's a baby. So there's no time for him to be a Kryptonian on Earth without being raised as a human. He's a human first in his own mind. What if he's not a human first in his own mind? How is that different?
And
What
also,
if he go ahead?
Also, if he crash lands as a baby, how does he survive?
Right. Those are questions that need immediate answers. And I think those answers have to be meaningfully different.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think there's a lot of intrigue with Superman. People are underestimating this book, I think.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So that those were the no. I almost skipped past another new Absolute book that we got announced, which was Flash.
Blurred
Absolute
right past.
Flash. Yeah, right. I almost ran right past that one. And we already kind of knew that this was coming. You know, we talked about this last week, but it is Jeff Lemire and Nick Robles on the Flash. I feel like we really didn't get too much information about it. Just the fact that it's coming and it's coming from those particular creatives. That's it. And we got an image. But we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what that image is really representing. Like that looks like it's Wally.
It's Ginger. Yeah. It's got to be Wally.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's like 3 ghostly figures emanating from his body.
My bet is that it'll deal with an erratic version of like the Speed Force. Like he's going to be dealing with doing multiple things all at one time and the various versions of himself that will be wanting to do something all at once. Man, I gotta get a career because these are fucking gold ideas. I'm just giving them away for free.
Cool creative team, man. I like Jeff Lemire's work. If he's gonna make it, if this feels like he's gonna make something a little more wacky, it's just kind of his bag sometimes. And Nick Robles is really good. So,
And Jeff Lemire also teased on his Instagram that there's another DC announcement from him coming too. So
Yeah. I believe we know he's got 3 things that he's working on. So,
books.
yeah. So, who was it that said that? Yeah, Cole. Cole said Nick Robles said on Twitter, "It's a teenage Wally West." I think that's all we have. Yeah.
Okay.
Fair
I'm
enough.
not mad about that.
Yeah. I think this is probably a little bit further down the pipe, so that's why there's not much info. And we'll probably see more from it, I would imagine, at New York Comic Con. That would be my guess. Chad is saying that, they're bringing up the good point of what if Absolute Superman doesn't crash land as a baby? And I think that is a very interesting idea too, that he crash lands as an adult. But if that is the case, if he crash lands as an adult, then what, does he put himself in a ship and get himself the hell away from Krypton? Is he one of the people who realizes, because at Krypton, there are people who say, hey, this planet is going to explode. And not everybody believes that. So what if he's one of the ones that believes it and says, you know what? You guys don't trust me. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Maybe people see him as a lunatic, a doomsayer, and he just leaves and Krypton explodes and he's the last person to survive because he's the only one who actually believed it was going to happen.
I was thinking along the lines of like that humanitarian aspect where his parents are still alive and instill in him, that kind of ideology. And they're like, we need to go out into the world and explore because the world is going to be destroyed. You're that person who will go and do that for us. And you will be the diplomat to Earth or something, let's say. And that leads into him trying to save the planet Earth and from ways that it's trying to kill itself.
Well, I mean, I lean in more to the idea of him being angry. The planet exploding and then him arriving on Earth and seeing that the same things that led to the destruction of Krypton are happening on Earth. The devaluation of the planet, the apathy, the lack of people taking things seriously. I think that ties in perfectly with the book taking place in Brazil. I think that's the idea right there.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that making the L's Mon Pa Kent will be the solution to that either.
He has to come to Earth with an anger about him.
Yeah.
There's something that makes him angry, and Aaron said that, so we know that.
I almost think of it almost like in a Vegeta sense, where like he comes to Earth angry, a little more grizzled, and Earth softens him.
I think there are bits of Supergirl in that.
Yep.
She comes to Earth as a teenager, but she was sent off at the same time as Kal-El. She was a teenager when Krypton exploded, and she ended up coming late.
Izzy said, as a massive Superman fan, I do feel the most hesitant about this one. Maybe because I'm afraid of a change to Superman's status quo, because there have been so many bad faith discussions recently. Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think when it comes to Absolute, we have to have, well, no one has to do anything, but in my mind, we have to have the ability to separate our version of the character from the new one and give the creative teams the space to tell a story that they absolutely could not tell in mainline DC. It's more than an Elseworlds, but if it helps you sleep at night, and I'm not trying to, make fun of anyone, you could just look at it like that. Like the Red Sun version of Superman has no bearing on mainline. And you can take that story as just a story. And I think for me, I enjoy this stuff a lot more if it feels too distant for me, if I can just separate it out. And DC is allowing us to do that by saying we can have our cake and eat it too.
It's the old let them cook.
That's the moniker. That's the motto around here. And I understand not trusting in, because I'm seeing it in the chat, Jason Aaron. But let's not forget, yeah, it's 2024, but let's not forget, Jason Aaron laid down one of the greatest Thor runs of all time. That's not easy to do.
Not only that, but like you think about something like Scalped that dealt with more human issues and like civil rights stuff and some heavier topics. Some of that could be in this too if Superman's ending up in Brazil to start things off. That's a very specific choice that is pretty clear where it's going. Southern Bastard's another one.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the absolute news for the time being. I suspect that we're gonna see probably not more absolute books announced. I think we've gotten 5 so far, and that's a pretty healthy amount. Saving the rest for next year makes sense. So I can see 2 more being announced at New York Comic Con.
Yep.
Sure.
And that's a healthy slate. 7 books. I think that's pretty good. Well, I say that, but we've heard about Martian Manhunter from Dennis Camp.
And Jim Lee was drawing absolute characters, or he drew some for this. And,
He drew Batman.
But then he did this like all-in image too that had a Martian Manhunter on it. That did not look like 616 Martian Manhunter. Maybe that was the Prime. What was it called? Is it Prime?
Yeah. Earth One.
Earth
Earth
One.
One. Okay. But maybe that's the absolute power one though when it gets depowered, Martian Manhunter. But it had like a gangly, weird-looking Martian Manhunter that Jim Lee was drawing.
That's probably a tease then of what we're going to be getting.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah. So it remains to be seen. DC, of course, does have more panels to come, so maybe we'll get more news about Absolute. But in any event, there were some other things that dropped. Like James Gunn jumping into the panel, not physically, but via video, to announce the trailer for Creature Commandos. This is the first salvo of the new regime, the James Gunn, Peter Safran DCU. And we're all looking ahead to Superman in 2025. But before that, we are getting Creature Commandos, an animated series that is going to introduce us into this new DC. It is a Suicide Squad-esque concept. They call it Task Force M, actually, in the trailer. And it is all these creatures. Amanda Waller is banned from using humans for these types of task force, but she's allowed to use non-humans. And so she recruits a roster that features characters like the Bride of Frankenstein, Weasel, who we saw in the
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad movie.
Thank you. The Suicide Squad movie. A
Dr.
whole
Phosphorus.
bunch. Dr. Phosphorus, who I think looks super awesome.
Alan Tudyk too doing Dr. Phosphorus.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. Who was the villain from Batman Beyond?
Blight.
Blight. I
yeah.
love that guy.
That's who this looks like.
Mm-hmm. G.I. Robot is also in the mix. I saw somebody, I don't remember who it was, said, "Oh, look, it's Junkyard Joe and Geiger."
Yeah.
Junkyard Yo.
Oh, and Geiger too, because
Yeah,
that's
Dr.
pretty funny
PalsVerse.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think about this?
I think
Wacky.
it's a cartoon. Like that's where I go on this. Like, it's a cartoon. I'll check it out. I think the cast is really good. James Gunn has the luck of always getting a good cast for what he does.
Yeah.
David Harbour as Frankenstein. That's cool.
That's cool.
And especially if these characters can then be in live action too. I think that's the plan that he's mentioned. But also at the same time, it's like, this is just Suicide Squad. Like, he's done this. This is Spooky Side Squad. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. There's no mold breaking here. But it's a cartoon. We can do some fun stuff. I think like Cersei is the villain too. So you got some Amazonian stuff going on.
Yeah, the thing that gets me about this one is it is animated, and I typically avoid those like the plague. But it's connected to the bigger universe in a meaningful way. So I think I will give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot for like an episode or two. This feels like a holiday special, Halloween special, Suicide Squad or whatever DC animation they just extended into a season based off of the characters. So for me, that's a little off-putting. But I'm willing to give it an episode or two. I think I struggle with the animation a lot for DC, and so as opposed to something like Suicide Squad, like the Isekai, that I'll watch and I need to finish up on. But this is less interesting to me, so I'm wary. But I'll give it an episode. I think the team behind it believes in it, which gives me a bit of confidence. But I'm not as hot on it.
I don't care about this. And it's a little more than that too, because my biggest fear with James Gunn jumping into the driver's seat of DC is that all the movies and all the properties are going to feel like the Suicide Squad.
Hmm.
And, like, I'm totally aware that this is a Suicide Squad offshoot and presentation, but it just feels like more of that. And I already don't care that much about that. Like, I got that. It's fine, whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of those movies, or the one James Gunn did. And so this feels like more of the same. And I could do without all that. I could skip that. So I'll watch it for the sake of the continuity and wanting to see how this is going to tie into the greater scheme of things. But am I excited about it? I would say my excitement level is probably about a 2.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine this will be supremely skippable. I think they're gonna have. I think what will probably happen is they will have to do some work later on to get more people actually really excited about this concept to go back.
Well, and then they have to do the work to catch people up too, because things of consequence will probably happen in the show.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
But I mean, like, for the individual characters that you're going to put forward on a big screen, so somebody's going to walk and be like, "Wait, who are these people again? Why do they have this dynamic? Why do they have this relationship?"
I don't think so. Maybe you'll get a glimpse of these people on TV in Superman, the movie. And that'll be the continuity through line or whatever. You'll see him in a history book, but up to that point, like, I don't think anything of consequence is going to happen here when we have a tentpole on the way.
And I agree with C.W. Gordon, who says that it's such a weird thing to start the universe with, going oddball first thing.
Yeah.
That's another problem that I have, and that's a very personal thing, but, I don't think this is the way to go. I think kicking things off with something huge on the big screen and having Superman be your establishing place makes a lot of sense. But starting with Creature Commandos, I mean, I just don't think the messaging there is great. And if people show up for this thinking like, okay, this is where I have to start, and then it's not for them, that's going to be off-putting. And people are already put off by DC. Like, people are not that enthused about DC at the moment. And I think leading with Superman, which I am sure is going to be great, that's the way to bring people back in and hook them. Not this. But this is what we're getting. So, alongside this, though, what's that, Kale?
I was gonna say, well, it'll probably be on HBO Max, so I won't be able to watch it anyway.
Oh yeah, it's not outside certain regions.
So no loss to me.
Raphael says they could make them as the Doom Patrol stand-ins for the DCU since they already wasted the Doom Patrol concept on the live-action series.
Whoa, that was a good.
That was
that's
a good show. All
Yeah,
right.
wasted is a harsh word for that.
Yeah.
I thought Doom Patrol was solid.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Fun.
Roboters 100 says, I don't think this will be very influential. I see people more excited for Penguin than this.
True. Yep.
Wild, but probably fair.
100%.
This almost feels like it was made, like they were like, hey, James Gunn, after the Suicide Squad, you want to do a cool little animated show? And then they were like, wait, hold on. We also want you to show run our entire universe going forward. And like this was just production wise was just ready to come out earlier.
Well, Raphael says this is a holdover from the prior era. So the fact that it's coming out here, when is this? It's October, I think.
Probably
That
right
makes
around
sense.
time for spooky time. Yeah.
December. So
Ooh. Well then.
the fact that it's coming out in December means that it's been in production for some time. You know, animated wise, it takes a long time to do this stuff. So there's a high likelihood that Raphael is correct, that this was already being worked on. MP says the trailer looked a bit generic, but I think it will end up surprising people. It very well may.
Hope so.
I'm always open for that possibility.
I will say the animation looks pretty good.
Right.
I don't believe. I haven't seen the trailer, but I don't believe you. It's a DC animated project. I don't believe you.
I liked it.
I'm going to go to bat. I think the animation is solid. I think even if you were to just look at a snippet of it, I think you might feel a little differently. And I hope it's a change for DC because I am with you. I don't watch the DC animated movies anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care. They don't look amazing, and you know, I read the stories already, so I don't need to see a weird version of it. But I hope that this is a sign that DC is going to take animated and make it a little bit more integrated to everything else that they're doing and up those production values as well.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Alongside this, though, we also got the new DC logo.
This is what I meant from the vault. They reached in to grab those bullets.
Ah, yes. Hello, new DC logo. Same as the old DC logo. Everybody's favorite. The classic bullet.
This was a James Gunn decision, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably.
It was, yeah.
And it's going to the comics too, right? Yeah, because October comics start with this new logo as well. Okay.
January everywhere else.
We back.
I like this.
This is what is in my head when I think of DC Comics. So, geez, remember the new 52 one where it was like a page being pulled? The DC one? Ugh,
This is my logo.
gross.
It's like, wow.
Graphic design is my passion ass logo.
I think this is another example of DC trying to make people happy and righting wrongs, if you will.
Well, and hearkening back to stuff that worked.
Sure. Yeah, from a creative standpoint as well as even like a promotion standpoint here.
So that is what we have so far. for DC's efforts at New York Comic Con 2024. Now, there is still today, Saturday, and there is still Sunday.
Ooh.
And I'm sure that DC is going to drop a few more bombs. But I would argue that DC made a calculated decision to own the lead into San Diego Comic-Con and to own the first couple of days, and that they're probably not trying to compete with what Marvel's going to do today. So they upfronted all their big announcements, and today and tomorrow they'll be pretty quiet. That's my guess. I do not know that.
Do they have a Hall H panel for their films?
No.
No. Yeah. Okay.
As far as the comics too, the only thing that's been missing so far is the big ROM announcement, which I think happens today.
That happens today.
Yeah,
That does
Oh, yeah.
happen today.
and it's
Which-
wild that that's gonna blow the MCU out of the water. Can't even believe it.
It's probably New Gods,
Sure.
I think. And if it is, that's probably my most hype announcement of all this.
Easy.
Ram V has talked multiple times about the idea that there are many more ways to tell stories and many more story archetypes than what the Western world has claimed. What kinds of stories are when it comes to gods are we most used to? The white Anglo god stories. What is Ram V going to bring to the New Gods?
I mean,
A different type of god story.
he's gonna fucking reinvent mythology altogether.
That is hype.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to do this. It's the only reason to bring back the New Gods and do a New Gods book if you have something different to say. Ram V is going to take Jack Kirby's genius and he's going to filter it through his lived experience and his different culture and his genius brain, and he is going to blow us away with something radical. And the only missing element is what artist is going to bring that to life. And I have no guesses. I don't even want to speculate personally. I want to be blown away.
Didn't he mention that the artist that he's working on Dawn Runner with, they have another project coming up soon?
Evan Cagle, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Evan
But
Cagle on that?
That would not be hype to me.
Really?
It would be good, but it's not enough.
I don't want to say this before, but I said it on the review we did for Dawn Runner 1. I think the book is really good. Evan's sequentials are not ready yet. I had a very hard time, and I saw other people say this too, telling what we were supposed to be looking at with Dawn Runner.
Yeah.
And it's just because he's not ready yet. He's not a sequential artist.
Well, Ram also said that as it continued, I think he had that improvement, that
Yeah.
turn. So I think that's a fair criticism. And now that he's getting the practice, he's working his way up.
You can see it in the subsequent issues of Dawn Runner too, I think.
I agree that I don't think that would be as exciting. Like I think you would want. I feel like you would want a creator from the stable to some degree. Like who do they have in the pocket to try to put out a book of that magnitude? I can't think of anyone right now, but you'd want to keep it familiar.
I disagree. I think for something like New Gods, I think you want something wildly different.
That's why I think Evan Cagle would actually work.
I
trad more.
He just got announced on something at Marvel, actually, I think. Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking Wes Craig.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, his
That would
actual
never happen
book.
because of Kaya. That's why Wes is only doing the little bit he's doing in the All-In #1,
Right.
because
Yeah.
he's fully committed to Kaya.
Oh, you can be fully committed to two things. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, everyone's poly now.
It's 2024.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, something like that style, something Kirby-esque,
Shaner.
but nope. No. Too clean.
Nope.
Too clean. Too clean. Kirby-esque, but like able to go in a different direction.
I'm gonna keep myself out of the speculation game on this one. I want to be wowed.
Yeah.
I want to be surprised.
And from every single one of Rom's creative partners, almost every single one, I'm excited to see who he pulls out of quote unquote obscurity. And I certainly don't mean that derogatorily.
Right. Yeah.
David Rubin. Oh, David Rubin would fucking rule.
That'd be cool.
James Harren. That's who I'm thinking. Would be a really fun one.
That
Rumble, Marco. If you ever read
Ultra Mega.
Ultra Mega.
Ultra Mega.
Yeah.
That was that
Yeah.
one. Yes.
That would be-
Ooh.
That would be interesting, but it's not enough.
enough. Really.
This-
I feel like that would. That's,
This
Hmm.
this book is alleged. I mean, we're talking about alleged things on an announcement that hasn't happened yet or confirmed.
Yeah.
But allegedly, it is supposed to be a bridge between Absolute and main DC. Right, it sits at the center of this all-in event, which then should theoretically bridge the two. How do you get an artist that can bridge the two? Because Absolute is kind of doing something maybe a little different with art.
Is it?
Nick Dragotta is a non-traditional DC Comics artist, yeah. I think Hayden Sherman is not somebody who's been at DC properly. The Aaron and Rafa Sandoval, that's very DC. But I think finding a bridge artist is going to be a bit of a trick too that I need to do.
I think Dragotta has Jorge Jimenez energy.
Yeah. I feel like they didn't do anything radical at all on the art side. On the art or writing side of things at Absolute.
Especially not with the announcements we have so far. Obviously, no offense to Kelly Thompson and Al Ewing. Full offense to Scott Snyder and Jason Aaron.
Oh.
But
Don't you want to get Scott on this show?
Hey, you're just ruining our potential show, Cal. You'll have a day off.
Better say nice shit about Scott Snyder.
nice shit about Scott Snyder.
All right. Bilquis Evely, MP suggests her.
Yeah.
Would like.
Yeah, I
Would
haven't
like.
seen that one. Yeah. Get that.
Supergirl. It's still not enough.
We'll
I
see.
need some inks.
Some weird shit. Martin Simmons,
Yeah.
it'll take forever. That's the problem.
Who's
From
that?
Department of Truth.
Department of Truth.
Oh,
Very
yeah,
non-traditional.
yeah.
That's
That-
The
that's too
Department of
much.
Truth is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite comics being published right now, certainly. But when you read that book and you realize how many issues of it Martin Simmons does not draw, it's like, oh shit. Like, this ain't happening.
God, that's such a good book.
Sure is.
that's Steve. Somebody said Mitch. I assume referring to Mr. Odds. And then Steve Matthews. So Mike Elliott said Mitch, and then followed up by Steve Matthews, who said Orion, One Bad Day. Now that's a book I'd love to see.
Man, the Marvel side of things has us close to Sean One Bad Day. I'll just say that.
Dude,
Let's
when I,
go.
when I was getting the show ready with the slides, I was like, oof, look at the dichotomy between these two halves of the show.
Yep. Mike Diodato Jr.
No.
I fuck with that hard.
He's
No,
busy on
MT,
Flash right now.
I love me some Mike Diodato, but I mean, that's as like,
House style as you can get. My
I don't know
man,
if
my
I would say
man,
house style.
That's
my
Marvel
man is
House
a
style.
my man is a cornerstone in the side of the house.
I do love him though. He's one of my faves.
Of
He's one my
course.
faves. Cole, who is that? Tonchi
Tonsi Zonjic. Yeah, he did
Lobster
a lot
Johnson.
of Lobster Johnson,
Oh,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
Hellboy.
Is he doing
That would be an interesting.
Can see that.
I don't hate that.
Get some Kirby Crackle in there.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. Is like you gotta make sure the artist can do a really good crackle.
need the crowd?
You gotta have it.
I don't know, guys. I don't know. But we don't have long to wait because that panel is happening today. I'm wondering if there's a chance that, like, I don't know the exact schedule, but I wonder if that could happen while we're live.
Probably
Go
while we're
through with the
doing
show and I'll
Deadpool
figure it out
Wolverine.
right now.
The 3-hour time difference is
Yeah.
like, I would love it if we could be here while news is breaking because that's always fun. But the 3-hour time difference just takes away from that.
Rom's panel isn't until 12:30, so it's 3:30 our time.
Oh, okay. So we'll be just about done with the show.
Okay. All right.
Come
So we'll
right
go
back.
live. We'll go live a third time.
One more time.
Yeah. We'll go live again to cover Rom's announcement.
Just
Hang on,
live
I'm just
stream
gonna just gonna text my wife. Sorry, you're not seeing me tonight.
that.
Sean and R, yes, you guys are not wrong about that. That day is coming. That day is coming. Cosmo says, has Marvel announced anything other than that TVA book? Well, Cosmo, if you stick around, you are absolutely going to hear all about Marvel's announcements because we have loads of that as well. And yes, they did announce more than just the TVA book. DVA, Mike Deodato is not going to be on Flash going forward, as far as I'm aware. I believe he has wrapped up his time on that book.
Bless.
And John Horchler, we are going to do a Deadpool and Wolverine review later on. After this stream ends, we're going to go live again to talk Deadpool Wolverine. And we're going to get into every spoiler and everything that has to do with that. But there will be absolutely no spoilers here. So everybody that is here is safe from spoilers. Final thoughts on DC's con thus far.
Hey, good first start, man. I'm excited for a lot of this stuff. We got into territory of formulating concepts and trying to figure out what the stories are, who the creators are, and I think once we get to that point here as a panel, I think that means that they've built enough intrigue for us to get excited. So yeah, I think this has been really good news.
You're muted, Kill.
Yeah, I think this rules. This feels like it's back to a DC that I'm familiar with, back from when I was reading, and excited and hyped about the whole universe. Like I'm pumped to be here, and I can't wait to see what's coming.
Tyler?
Could be good. No, I'm excited. It does feel nice to be excited about the comic side of things again. Like, I can't remember the last time I felt hype around comics. Hype is usually now for the film and TV side of things. But there feels to be something big here that has plans and thoughtfulness behind it. That is really refreshing.
I'm all in, baby. This is the most excited I've been about DC Comics in forever. Maybe actually ever. It's possible that I've never been more excited about DC Comics than I am right now. I remember the New 52 launch. I was there for that, and I remember feeling, cautiously optimistic, I guess. But not really knowing what to expect. Now that I'm a seasoned DC reader and I have, my established thoughts on these characters and, this universe, I'm so excited for the fact that DC seems to be willing to go all in now and to put their biggest and brightest stars creatively on their biggest and brightest characters and really try and do something special. They needed a shakeup. They're shaking things up. And I think that this is DC's best shot in a decade to take some of that market share back and compete against Marvel, the unstoppable juggernaut, and Energon Universe, the new upstart that is actively eating away at DC's market share little by little. DC is the most hyped comic company at this moment in time.
A lot of prospect.
Yeah. Where my DC heads in the chat. You guys hyped for DC right now? What do you think about what DC has done so far this weekend?
Do you have to ask that with our chat? We're full of DC people on the PalsVerse.
DC.
I don't think so, Aaron Ruiz. He says not even the Rebirth era. Rebirth was exciting. Rebirth was super exciting. I remember reading Rebirth #1 and getting to the Dr. Manhattan of it all and losing my shit. You know, that was super, super exciting to me. But this just feels like everybody's involved. And I love the creatives that DC has on tap right now. This feels like it might be the best roster of creatives that DC has had since the New 52. Because they had Morrison and, you know, they had Gail Simone, they had Greg Capullo was in the mix with Scott Snyder. They had so many people involved. This feels like it's in league with that. Hype level 52 out of 52. Let's go, CW. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Ted H says, all Infinite Crisis, my wallet cannot burn twice. You want to talk wallets? You want to talk wallets? I pulled 19 comics for Pals Pulls this week. Well, for my life. I pulled 19 comics this week. And ain't none of them say absolute on them. Absolute DC is coming. That's going to put more books on my stack. Who's going to pay for this?
So up your donations, patrons, and YouTube subscribers. You want DC? You want DC from us? Listen, y'all gotta pay.
Listen, Kale, stop trying to milk the audience.
Not that kind of show, Sean.
Raphael says, I'm all in, but all out of cash. Felt.
Oh, man. DV says, I'm too old to get hyped for this stuff, but I'm sure I'll try something when I make my trip to the store. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is the way you have to approach this. Like, we're excited. I'm sure the four of us are going to read every single one of these, but we have a show to do. You guys don't. So you can choose with your wallet. What is most exciting to you from this and go from that. And maybe, you know, you listen to Pals Pulls. Listen to what we have to say and decide based on that. I always say you should vote. You should make up your own mind. But if money is the factor, hear us out. Whoever it is that you trust, what do they think about these books? It's there's a lot to consider. DC's putting out a lot of new stuff. Energon hasn't made a peep throughout SDCC so far, but I'm sure they've got stuff coming. We haven't even talked about Ghost Machine, which all they've really put out as far as hype this week is the announcement of a Junkyard Joe toy.
Looks good too.
It looks sick as hell.
That's going to get some money.
Hell yeah.
Jeff Johns needs to stuff my stocking with one of those.
4, please.
Well, each of us needs one.
Yeah.
Send Sean 4 and he can spread them out.
Exactly. That's right.
That's true. Tyler can come to my house. Marco can come late and get one. And then Gail, you know, we can ship it over there.
I'll be a little later. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like the chat is really excited for what is happening at DC right now. I love that we get to share in these moments together. This is why we do this. This is why we read comics. It's for these moments like this where we get to be so excited. And then this part, the excitement part, the hype part, right? And then the books come out and we actually get to read them.
And then we can all be disappointed together.
Yay!
Whoa, comics.
Yeah, the life of a comic fan.
That's the best part. Amin says Devour a bit pricey, not gonna lie. What do you mean? I know that's one of the Ghost Machine books, but did they announce that the price is like high? Is it too damn high?
Probably.
Dan says, tell Jeff there's a fifth member who does all the behind the scenes work and then send the fifth figure to me.
Well, that's going to discount our fifth member behind the scenes who does all the work.
Guys, it's Bean. Spoiler. Bean's been here the whole time.
My cousin. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, come on. You're going to undercut my cousin?
Who's been bankrolling.
Yeah. Flo Dameron with the $4.99 super chat. Comics are back, baby. Exciting time to be a fan and a pal.
My
So
man.
much.
Love that. Love that. Love you for that. Love that message. Thank you, Flo. Thank you, Flo. All right. So we'll put DC on the back burner for now. We'll have a lot more to say about DC's SDCC next week. Whenever, we get those announcements and we're back here live, we'll talk about that stuff. But the show is far from over. Far from over. Because we still have Marvel announcements to get through, and we still have our number one DC events to talk about. So, lots of stuff on tap for that. For those of you who are curious, our Crisis on Infinite Earths book club is impending. 3 days away.
The sky's turning red already. It's coming.
Dude, wouldn't it be pretty ominous if, remember last year how there was the crazy
yeah.
I saved a skunk during it.
Huh. That's pretty ominous.
The fires.
It's a weird thing to call your cat, but
No, there was like a skunk hyperventilating outside, so I fed him and gave him water.
Dang.
Good guy, Ty.
Dumb move. Could have got sprayed.
So on July 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern, we are going to present to you our Crisis on Infinite Earths book club. I am very, very excited for this. This is going to be epic, I think. And I want to make sure that we're super clear because we've had people asking, and I want to make sure the messaging is clear. It doesn't cost you $1 or a cent to be a part of this.
nothing
at
damn
all.
one.
Nothing. You don't even have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything for us.
You don't
be a
want to?
part of
Don't buy the book.
Yeah, you don't even have to buy the book. The only thing you have to do to participate in this book club is show up Tuesday, July 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern and be ready to listen to us talk. And you can talk too. You can chat. You can let us know your thoughts, whatever it is you want to share. That is the open forum. It is a book club for all of us. So show up and we're going to have a great time together. If you want to go the extra mile, there is conversation happening about Crisis in our Discord server. So you can join our Discord server, also free. And you can come hang out. Yeah. Yeah. People are doing it. People are talking about it. So it's going to be a great time. Oh, okay. Devour is $5.99. Why is it $5.99? What's that about?
Johns doesn't want us to read it, I guess.
That's a lot. Yeah, guys, I decided I'm not doing the tie-ins for Crisis.
Yo, it's a lot.
I can't.
There's a Swamp Thing tie-in, right, Marco?
It's not worth it. It's like he pops up in the,
Swamp Thing's not worth it, huh?
he pops up in the hall with all the other heroes. He's like, "There's a lot of heroes in here," and then he goes back to whatever he was doing.
I think it's similar in Animal Man. He looks up at the sky and goes, "Damn, it's red," and goes back to what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Like that's what amounted to a tie-in.
Yeah, yeah. You
In
just
80
acknowledge it. It exists. Until that thing's happening. Well,
Marowak Oscuro says, "What's your favorite Crisis?" Well, we are in the middle of our favorite DC events, and I got to imagine we've talked a lot about crises over the last few weeks that we've been doing this. I got to imagine some amount of us have a crisis as our number one book. So you're probably about to hear about that in just a moment. Amin says, I recommend one tie-in DC Presents 87 origin story for Superboy Prime.
okay.
Right.
Add that to the list.
I'll see if I can get to that. Put that in the Discord so that I can remember it. Okay. We have had an incredible July. I'm almost sad it's ending because July, other than the month we had Salon, which was February, this has been the biggest month for the pals. Our numbers are up, way up, and you guys have done amazing things for us. I asked you to vote in the listener pick poll and get us over 300. You crushed that.
Hell
you did
yeah.
that. You got us to over 1,000 views on the Bat Family video we put out this week. You crushed that. You got last week's show up over 2K views.
Yep.
You annihilated that. All that. And we've got four PalsVerse editions this week. You guys are treating us amazingly. I feel like I'm being courted by you.
You're hungry for it.
It's a beautiful thing. The way you reciprocate and show your love back to us has been nothing short of amazing. We are endlessly grateful. And we are going to continue to do every single thing that you guys are loving. This ain't stopping. It's only going to get bigger and better. And I have a surprise for you.
Oh.
It is event month, right? That is what we have been celebrating.
Oh, shit.
And while it's too late for it to start during event month, the summer is event season for comics. And it's event season for the pals. We have a new deep dive coming.
Oh,
Yes.
shit.
I have been in the lab. I have been working. I have been researching, and I have been planning. And we will be presenting a new deep dive to you guys very soon. Maybe not next week because we have more San Diego news to come. But in August, we're going to kick off a new deep dive. And if you've never been here for one of those, get ready. Because we've got some great ones in the tuck. We've got the history of Alan Moore's Twilight of the Superheroes. We've got the 5G history and the history of the DC Comics implosion that we've already done, if you want a taste of what is to come. But I promise that this is going to be good. I am very excited for it.
Looking forward to it. Hyped. Those are rad. Those always feel like we come out of class, like in for the professor just kind of finished like telling you something, you're like, damn, I learned something today.
Hell yeah. I hope you guys learned something. I've been learning a lot.
None of us be the Sophie Cuckoo in the situation, though. We're just gonna learn and listen.
Wow. Dan says it's a show of how strong and positive of a culture community you created here. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for being a part of it. And yes, we are close to 3,000 subscribers. You guys are subscribing at a rate that we have never seen before. So thank you for that. Get us to 3K. We're almost there. 3K is on the horizon. That would mean a lot to us. And yeah, we're going to do something cool when we get to 3K. some kind of stream or something like that. We'll do something for you guys. Sarcastic Enchilada says, when is the Crisis on Infinite Earths review again? So the book club is this Tuesday, July 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern.
If you're part of the Discord, you can go into the events section. I list out all of the events that go on at any time, and keep that pretty updated. So the moment it happens, it kicks off in the Discord as well. So you can just click the link and it'll take you to the video that we do.
Yeah. And I think in general, our Discord is the best way to keep up with all of our goings on. Catherine says, once you hit 4K, I want all pals to do a backflip. So I never agreed to do any backflip.
I'll do a cartwheel.
And I will not be doing a backflip because I appreciate having a back. Kale owes a backflip. We paid for this fucker's lessons to do this backflip.
Hold on.
That backflip is owed to all of us.
That's right. I fucking submitted the receipts and everything.
He had the audacity to submit receipts for him to take lessons to then not do the backflip.
My foot hurt. I hurt my foot.
I don't care. It's
Damn.
not about you. It's about them.
They want it.
No. I know. I'm trying.
I don't know, man.
Kale's backflip, his backflip lessons turned into flip flop lessons.
See, hold on.
Hmm?
I never said I wouldn't do it. I'm just not doing it.
Exactly. Okay. 1K Kale backflip, 3K Marco cartwheel. You want to do that?
I'll do that. I can commit to something I can do.
Could I do a cart? I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do a cartwheel right now.
You can do a cartwheel.
Come on, handstand. Do a handstand.
I mean, I could do a handstand,
There you go.
but not like just raw. I'd have to be against the wall.
Yeah, but you can do a cartwheel raw. That's no big deal.
I don't know if I could do a cartwheel raw, dude.
Easy.
Like a good one?
Yeah.
I don't
Right
know.
now, across the street. It's the screen.
You want me to do a cartwheel right now?
Yeah, do it.
All right. Nah, fuck you guys. I'm not doing a cartwheel right now.
Yeah, I knew you were lying as soon as I saw the headphones were still on. Come on.
That's so funny. Yeah, Catherine, 10K Sean cosplay as Jean Grey.
Hell no. I don't want to be her. Dan Trudeau says Sean owes an omnibuy. Who? To who? To who? I don't owe anyone. I don't currently owe anybody.
If anything, someone owes you, right?
I don't know.
No one owes anyone yet. The bet is in limbo.
Mm.
And I think today is the day where we are going to find out that Kefis owes me a Jonathan Hickman Avengers omnibus. That's what I think we're going to learn today.
Nah.
Because I believe that Mahershala Ali, I believe that Kevin Feige will deliver to me the goods, as he has in the past many times. And he's delivering the goods with the Russos. So why would he not do it with Mahershala Ali?
Because you asked too much.
Catherine says, Sean, if you hit 10K, you must cosplay. Okay, as who? If we hit 10K subs, I'll cosplay. That's fine.
Yep. Just get the big Hulk fists, the Hulk hands, and Sean smash.
I can't think of Hulk hands anymore after Deadpool the same way.
Yeah.
I'll cosplay as Invisible Woman. How about that?
That's called Sean's first day off.
Oh man. Okay. So enough essing our own D's. Let's celebrate you guys. Let's celebrate the patrons.
Nope.
Uh,
I was going to stop myself from saying that, Kale, but I'm glad you went for it. Yeah.
that was uncalled for. This is not that kind of podcast. I am trying to establish that fact. And you guys just keep dragging us down into the well. I don't understand it.
Wow.
I stopped myself, which is hard for me, Sean. Kale went for it.
Okay. So we are going to talk about patreon.com/thecomics pals, where you guys are always getting bang for your buck. You support us, we support you right back, and we love all of you guys. We have 4 people that we are inducting into the PalsVerse. We're not going to be able to do 4 origins. We're going to do 1, and then we're going to stagger these because there's just too many and the show's too damn long. So we'll do 1. Next week we'll get through some more. Hopefully there's less news next week, and so on and so forth. Apologies, but these do take some time to get through. And the show
You will get yours.
Yeah, they are all coming. They're all coming. Steve Matthews says Sean has to cosplay as whoever Mahershala Ali plays in his next 10 non-Marvel roles.
Whoa.
That's
Dude, I'll
funny.
cosplay as Mahershala Ali. If we get to 10K subs, I'll cosplay as whoever the hell you want.
He's already been in the MCU technically, so. Copperhead?
Ah, yes. Right. I forgot about that. Totally forgot about that. Okay. So I want to give a special shout out to the PalsVerse Legends. These are the people who support us at the highest tier, the people who go above and beyond for us, from whom we can ask nothing more, whose names are etched in the stars amongst the legends of the PalsVerse. So thank you to Thunderstruck Rebecca Alejandro, the Hound of Justice Atomic Hound, Starcross Catherine Stars, the Red Spiral Storm, and joining us at the PalsVerse Legends tier, Orseus, who will be getting a shout out here, an origin, I should say, next week on the show.
Nice.
And I also want to say thank you to the PalsVerse members, the people who have been supporting us, some of you since day one. The Night Stalker Harris Nijinsky, Brian Demolisher Del Pozo, Kefis the Incorruptible, Momentum Mike Elliott, who is in the chat, Dan the Truth Trudeau, who is in the chat, Slow Flow Dameron. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Jalen the Sanguine Sorcerer, Marley Manastorm, Slow Flow Dameron, who is in the chat, Christian Uncaged Harriet, Always Laughing, the Spear of Justice, Izzy's Issues, who is in the chat, the Great Destroyer, Hyper Viper 89, Adam and Bernie the Best Boy, Robert Runback Kashabak, Pete the Dreamweaver Collins, Matthew Malice Price, James Just Jamming Jones, Amin Almighty Perez, who is in the chat, Paul Powerhouse Smith, and joining the PalsVerse, getting their origin, is Andrew the Galaxian Smith. And I turn it over now to Marco to deliver this origin.
You get more than a minute.
Sorry?
You get more than a minute this time, so feel free.
Okay, yeah. Andrew, thank you for your patience. I was going to do this last week, but something unexpected came up, so I hope you enjoy this. The telemetry on the screens confirmed the results. The starry truth flickered in a fluorescent blue, and with each flash, Professor Andrew Smith saw his career fall away. There, in JA-14Z, at the center of the galaxy, was to have stood a colossal pulsing stellar object. Nothing else could explain the measurement gap. Nothing else could create those gravitational waves, and yet, how cold the stars can be. Andrew Smith had confirmed a falsehood. 15 years of work invalidated in a single reading. He could almost scream. He sat strewn and defeated. He discovered a new mystery in the world, and now he would lose his funding for it. He needed the result, which came up flat. Everyone at the lab had gone home. He sat there with celebratory champagne, alone, no resounding hurrah, just a harmony of computer hums. Andrew had always been a smart kid, and his love for space had led him to pursue science and mathematics. He wanted to share things with the world. He wanted to do better in it. Was this his reward for the long hours, events missed, people falling out of his life? Now he questioned if it was worth it, if his life would have turned out differently. He leaned back in his chair and popped open the champagne, and with each sip he was sent deeper. Regret turned to impudence, and impudence rage. All for a few computer chirps and details calculated? He turned to the telescope sitting at the lower level and rested his eyes on the viewfinder. He sat and stared. He knew there wouldn't be anything to see, but he needed it. He inhaled, plugged in the coordinates, and sighed deeply as he stood walking down towards the viewfinder. And there it was, empty space. He let his eyes adjust for a bit, but alas, more empty space. Behind him, the computer started their chirping again. Andrew looked back at the screen from the telescope seat, the pulsing renewed. A constant flash, an operation of nature for eons, had suddenly found itself in a holding pattern, directed at Earth. He turned back to the viewfinder and hesitated. It had to be there, right? Was this the sign? Andrew blinked. He returned his eye, and he felt the gaze before he saw the beam. Terror flooded him as he was pulled up. Planets, stars, galaxies turned to streaks of light around him. Ahead he could see the makings of an object, eerily oblong as he approached what he could only understand to be hyperspeed. The world around him fell apart while static screamed in his ear. In the next moment, he was floating in space. Towering over him was what he could best describe as an eye, and at worst a monstrosity. When his awareness finally caught up, Andrew could almost scream. The grotesque eye hissed in pulses that reverberated throughout his body and pierced his mind. Hello, Andrew. You have found my place of respite, and have drawn my awareness onto your planet once again. Still full of hurt, I see. I have brought you here because I have felt your pain, and I will grant you a gift of my dimension to avail you of it. Use these galactic forces well. Andrew's body surged with power. For a brief moment, he could see the expanse of the universe, all of its beauty, its secrets, but mostly he could feel the eyes' hunger and hate. The power was intense and slow, burning at the speed of light, but at the pace of infinity, and he was slowly driven mad. Find your revenge, my Galaxian, echoed a voice through a crooked smile. He needed to escape. He needed to be back at his desk, and he could no longer take it. And in that moment, he was flung back. Streaks of light flashed as the eye began dissipating into nothingness, and the nothingness into darkness. Andrew woke up on the floor to telemetry beeps when he felt the snap. He could hardly fathom what he had seen, and yet he remembered the words with clarity, scars on his mind. With it, he had been cured of the regret he had felt. It had been replaced with power. His anger with a taste for something new. It was his chance to show the world what he had found. He hummed with power. He reached out and with but a thought, and twitch of his hand rearranged the lab at an atomic level, laughing all the while. Light and shrapnel circling to build a new fortress. Tomorrow morning his peers would be the first to feel his retribution. Then he would turn his eye to the world. Andrew, you are a villain in this world bent on revenge. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that.
I had to close my eyes and set up my mind palace for that one, Marco.
Your mind palace?
Yeah, I gotta say, it kind of worked for me, Marco. I don't know. You might have a future in podcasting.
I wanted to do a little something, a little cosmic, a little spacey,
Yeah, great work.
a little spooky.
Awesome. Yes. I love the additions. The PalsVerse is growing day by day. The Discord is set up for you guys to be able to, share your stories with each other. A lot of you guys have decided to write some stuff. Catherine wrote a bit about her character that was really cool. And we've got a Wikia page.
Yeah, fandom, dude.
No slash fic yet, but I feel like it's coming.
It's coming.
Well, to say the least.
Chad is loving it. Chad is loving what you did there, Marco.
Steve Matthews. AI could never write something that good.
Well, guess what, Steve? That was written with... No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so we're not even done. I forgot. We've also got to say welcome and thank you to Cosmo, who has joined the PalsVerse, and
Of course.
BJ Kicks.
Hey.
Yo, oh, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all those origins are to come. Thank you to everybody who has joined up with us this week, last month, last year, whenever it was. Appreciate you guys. That's 27 of you now that are getting shout outs on here. It's getting long.
What?
You're going to need to have a designated bottle of water for this. Just so you can drink in the middle of naming all of these names and superpowers every week.
Take a sip. Yeah, there it is.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, let's get into our final picks for the top 5 DC Comics events countdown that we've been doing here. Every month we like to have a theme, ties into the book club. This month's book club theme was DC events, and so we're counting down our favorite DC Comics events. And we've all got our number ones. Marco's got to give us his 3 and 2, actually.
Yeah.
So, Marco, why don't you chat some more? Give us your 3 and 2 and 1.
Yeah, so I was thinking through number 3 because it actually changed. I was gonna do Future's End, and it got beat out by actually this read through of Crisis. I have never read a Crisis of like this magnitude. Dark Crisis was its own thing, and I've I've had to put my mind into a certain frame for this book, and it feels like melodrama. It feels like the fan parts of superheroics, and I've had to really appreciate that while reading through this. And so my number 3 is Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm starting to understand the excitement for it, and it feels like it doesn't feel like homework anymore as much as it is a study. And so I've really appreciated for that. So that's my number 3. My number 2 is Throne of Atlantis, Justice League, Aquaman. I had a lot of fun with that. It was my first event after I started picking up the Justice League stuff, after I had started picking up New 52, Aquaman, and so I really enjoyed the run, and I liked to start to see the crossovers. And as I was getting into weekly comics at the time, I was able to, for the first time ever, join alongside these events that were happening. And so it holds a pretty fond place in my heart, a little bit more than Rot World, only because I thought the implications for Aquaman were a bit cooler. And I'll go for my number 1. My number 1 is Forever Evil, the first all-encompassing, big, just event that covered all the books, that had consequences. It was part of the new world, and so I was incredibly excited for this. And because I was part of it, and or because I was part of weekly comics at the time and going to my LCS, you would chill there for, I'd say, an hour after close, and the the shop owner would pass around, drinks and stuff, and we'd be sitting there just sipping on some Kentucky bourbon, talking about what was going on with the how it wasn't the secret society, how the crime syndicate was coming in. And so I felt very connected to the community, and I really appreciated that. And Forever Evil was that event for me.
That's cool, man. I love Forever Evil.
It was really good. Yeah.
Atomic Hound said pals meet up at NYCC. Dude, are you gonna be there? Because go ahead, Kill.
Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know.
I mean, I would love to hear from some more people that are gonna be at New York Comic Con, because if enough of you are gonna be there, we can certainly set something up. And I've seen that quite a few of you do happen to live in New York, so spread the word.
We could pick a bar. We could figure it out.
Pick a venue.
Figure it out.
Tyler, what's your number 1 DC event?
Flashpoint. No, I'm joking. It's Infinite Crisis. Infinite Crisis is my number 1 favorite DC Comics event. It's just what, in my mind, an event book should be. Everyone is there. Everyone's involved. There are universal consequences to everything that's happening. And it has some of the best, like, end of issue cliffhangers throughout that kind of just hooks me each time. The Phil Jimenez, I believe, right, on art for that one.
Yeah.
Is just, in my mind's eye, when I think of characters like Superman, when I think of characters like Wonder Woman, that's what I see. The shattering of the fourth wall, the page, and all the Superboy Prime of it all is just, I was hooked when I was reading that. Superboy Prime is one of my favorite characters of all time. I think it's a fascinating play on what comics can be. And yeah, I just love everything about Infinite Crisis. Just perfect for me.
Awesome. Kale?
Yeah, my number one is also Infinite Crisis.
Hey.
It was I got into it with the original hype around the event. Right after Identity Crisis, they announced the death of Ted Kord, and it was like a big mystery as to, who killed him, and frankly, they did the thing where they hid his body. In the ad, it was Batman holding, someone's body, and ended up being Ted Kord. But that whole lead up to it, I was in it and I was enthralled. And the way it all shook out, especially as I was growing as a DC Comics reader at the time. Superboy had been going through some stuff. He just found out he was half Lex Luthor, and he just done a big turn. And then he had his big heroic moment and dies. And like that paid off so well. And Dan Didio didn't even want to do it. Like, I just like that whole event and everything that surrounded it and everything it echoed, which we'll get to in Crisis on Infinite Earths, but like the way it was a straight up sequel made sense, and it was so good. I love Infinite Crisis. I would do a book club on that. I would do a reread. I would do a podcast reenacting Infinite Crisis. I love Infinite Crisis.
I think I'm interested in that.
Yeah, Kale's melodramas.
Let's talk.
Yeah, I got to read that again. Infinite Crisis. Yeah, it's like there's 3 books I wanted to win the poll.
Yeah, this was hard.
I wanted to read Crisis on Infinite Earths for the first time, which is what we are reading. I wanted to read Identity again and Infinite again.
Yeah, this was a hard book club.
Damn. So my number one shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. It is Doomsday Clock. By Jeff Johns, Gary Frank, Brad Anderson, and I believe Rob Lee. Doomsday Clock is the capstone to Rebirth and what Johns was trying to do during the Rebirth era. Rebirth is an era that is controversial and has a lot of weird pieces and parts to it. But as a big fan of Jeff Johns, even at that point, my goal was to get the story that he was trying to tell from Rebirth and on. So the button with Batman and Flash having found the Watchmen button and the mystery of that, where did it come from? All that stuff leading into Doomsday Clock was so exciting to me. I was hungry for the information to know where this was going to end up, how the hell they were going to pair Watchmen with DC. And there was some trepidation. At that time, this podcast existed, and I remember saying, hey, this is Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. They're not here to fuck around. Let's give them a chance. It's a Watchmen, sequel or Watchmen event, but they're not going to treat it like shit. It's not going to be about Dr. Manhattan versus Superman.
Right.
It ended up being something that I think is a fitting, not sequel, because I don't read it as a sequel to Watchmen. I think it's a fitting addition to the Watchmen mythos and a conversation between DC and Watchmen that's happening in real time. I think it centers Superman, which was the point, and I think that was a great point to make, centering the character who is the essence of what DC is, who I feel had been put on the back burner for some time and was now reestablished as the main character of DC. And it shows you why he's so important through the eyes of a character who doesn't even exist in DC's universe, which is Dr. Manhattan, the absolute antithesis. The way that it utilizes every character and forces DC to confront the idea that maybe the hope has been lost and maybe there's something that these people need to find again through Superman. And they do that. It redeems some of the failures of the New 52. It answers a lot of lingering questions. And I think it's a beautiful story overall. I love Doomsday Clock. I think it's brilliant. Sick of people saying it's not an event. It is an event. And to me, it's the best event. So that is our top 5 DC Comics and crossover events. We each got through them all, so that's 20 in total.
Damn.
A lot of you have shared yours. Love to see that. Dan earlier said Jeff Johns must be the greatest event writer of all time because he's so many of us have him on it. Was he the writer of all of our number 1?
Yeah.
Forever Evil. Yeah.
That's
funny.
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Wow.
He's the guy.
Wow.
He is him.
And it's so weird too because like we have a connection with Jeff and we've had him on the show a few times. I've got the Rook Exodus thing poster in the background. Like we're not the Jeff Johns podcast. It just so happens that he is that guy. We don't have to say this, like we don't have to make him number 1. Like I don't give a shit. It just is that way.
It was almost infuriating meeting him too, because it's like, man, you're a cool dude too. Damn it.
Right? Yeah, it's wild.
Well, and a lot of this stuff was so long ago. Like even Doomsday Clock, at this point was, 5 years ago. More than that.
Mhm.
It feels like an eternity ago. That all of this stuff that was so good and was like feeding us and made us fans.
Hell yeah.
And then we just met him, as like discerning adult comic book readers,
Mm-hmm. And he ended up being awesome. Let's hit a couple comments real quick. We got to get through the Marvel stuff. Jeez. Thank you, Atomic County says, well said. Thank you. Appreciate that. Style so serious. Did anyone mention Blackest Night? Blackest Night was definitely on my list, Tyler's list.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess just us. But yeah, certainly. It's one of the best.
Did he do that too?
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
CW Gordon with a very interesting comment. Hadn't read Watchmen before Doomsday Clock, so I didn't have the untouchable reverence so many seem to have. I just thought Doomsday Clock was awesome. Dr. Manhattan's Man of Action meets him, or I'm sorry, DM. I thought that meant Dr. Manhattan. Dr. DM's Man of Action meets a Man of Inaction line rules. Right, yes. When he talks about himself as a man of inaction and Superman as man of action. Yeah. Totally.
Can you imagine Doomsday Clock before Watchmen?
That's wild.
That is, you're the only person I've ever met that has had that experience.
I'm glad it got you to read Watchmen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It made it enough to go back because it's so different. I feel like in that because it's a continuation of the ideas, not necessarily the story.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Christopher Eubanks says Final Crisis and 3 Jokers. Wow. Well, first of all, thank you for the comment. I haven't seen your name before, so welcome to the stream. But are those your 2 favorite events? Because that's interesting. I don't meet too many people that even understand Final Crisis, let alone put it in their top, upper tier of events. But
Roboters has it as number 1. He gave his list earlier. See if I can find it again. Top 5. 5 Forever Evil, 4 Final Night, 3 Identity Crisis, 2 Infinite Crisis, and 1 Final Crisis.
Roboters, dude, you are known for your paragraphs. Throw a couple of those on the Discord because I want to know why you rank Final Crisis so highly. Stank Moss says same with me. I still haven't read Watchmen. That's amazing. Are you, Stank, a newer to comics reader, it's totally cool if you are. I'm not judging you. I just want to know. I feel like Watchmen is one of those things that you mostly get to in your first 5 years, I feel.
The staple. It's just one of those
Yeah.
classic, I've always heard of it books.
It's like, for me, it was like, oh, I'm reading comics now. I need to read this. It was like a prerequisite for me.
I'll make a confession right now. I got a comics confession for you right now. I watched the Watchmen movie first. The Watchmen movie inspired me to want to read the comic.
Same. I actually preferred the movie ending
Yep.
to the comic ending when I
No.
first saw it.
You
After I
like
first
a
read it, rather.
giant squid monster? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I preferred the movie ending until the Watchmen TV show.
When you realize, oh, it could have been done that way.
No, when I realized that there was where that would go was an interesting place. For me, without the continuation and seeing how that played out, the squid was just kind of random and weird. But the show validated it more for me. But I will always be a fan of that movie ending. I think it was awesome.
And Stank turns out he's a new reader. I've been reading, or rather, he's been a reader. Been reading his whole life pretty much. Came up hardcore, Marvel and DC. Just one of those things, I guess.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Do we have to do a Watchmen book club again? Get these people to read this classic?
I guess
Hey,
so.
you know, we're probably due.
Wouldn't hate it.
It's the only comic I have annotated with like one of those flags you can put in it.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Man, we could do a podcast where we literally just talk to you guys and respond to comments. Like, we have to move the show forward, but I love getting to chit chat. I want to respond to every single comment, but we just can't.
And we have some exciting Marvel news to talk about, Sean.
Yes, exactly. And we have to get to that because we have to review Deadpool and Wolverine very soon. So hopefully you guys aren't sick of us yet, because after this we're going to be live for that. But let's get into the Marvel side of things. So Marvel had a next big thing panel that took place yesterday, and they made a few announcements. The biggest one, I guess, to come out of everything that they announced so far is the next sort of event or stage of storytelling for Marvel, and it is One World Under Doom.
Oh.
Yes. So those of you who are very activated with Marvel certainly would have read the Timeless issue. I believe it was called Timeless, that dropped in December. And that issue showed us a lot of random things where there are teases for the future. One of the things that we saw was Doctor Doom sitting in a chair with Marvel heroes bending the knee to him. And this teaser image that we got for this is a very similar thing. It may even be the exact same thing that we saw at that time. So this new status quo spins out of Blood Hunt and the events of Blood Hunt number 4 or 5, whatever the final issue is, 5. If you don't want to be spoiled about an element of how that's going to end, you're going to want to cut away from us for a moment. But essentially, Doctor Strange loses his Sorcerer Supreme status again, and Doctor Doom takes it on. So Doctor Doom will become the Sorcerer Supreme.
Exciting. I would argue probably what should have happened the first time.
Yeah, I agree.
And so he's going to use this all-powerful, status that he has to make some big changes. Doctor Doom is Marvel's big bad. Personally, I don't see him that way, but I think Marvel does, and I think people at large do. He's certainly their most popular villain.
I think they need him to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably accurate. And so he's going to be wielding this Sorcerer Supreme power all year long, or, however long. It's going to certainly be for some time. And one of the things he's going to do is make some changes for Spider-Man.
Huh.
Yeah, so he's going to give a new costume to Doctor Doom, and he also is
Yeah, hang on. Sorry, say that again.
I'm sorry, he's going to give a new costume to Spider-Man. My
Okay.
apologies. And this is also how we get into the 8 deaths of Spider-Man. We finally know that.
Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, so Doctor Doom is going to give Spider-Man a new costume and 8 lives, 8 extra lives
One for each leg.
to combat an evil god and his scions.
Okay. All right.
We've seen the costume. Tyler, do you have that?
Yeah, I got the cover and the concept art for it.
Sick. The costume looks very different, but I think it's kind of cool. It's wacky. It's out there. It's a fusion sort of Doom and Spider-Man.
Huh.
I want to know
Cool.
what you guys make of it. So, well, I should describe it for those of you who can't see me. So it's Spider-Man, but the colors are like red, gray. The green is from Doctor Doom is represented in his chest. It's a gem, they say, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's a green spidery thing in his chest. The rest of his chest, outside of that green spider gem, is gray. It reminds me of the armored spider that you've probably seen before. But then he's also got a oh my God, why can't I remember this
It's a scarf.
word? A scarf.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember the word scarf like 2 weeks ago also. He's got a red scarf. And then his gloves are also gray.
They're silver. Like, this looks like a hard material. It looks like a metal. And even the concept art describes it as Kirby-style Doom hands, the way the gauntlets are. I kind of dig it.
It might be fucking reading Spider-Man.
I kind of
This sounds cool as hell.
Even the concept art shows the angular Doom eye, like the Spider-Man eyes are in the shape of Doom's mask.
Yeah.
Man, it's like so dumb. I like it.
I don't think it's dumb at all. I think it fucking rocks.
The fists feel a little big, but otherwise, like, it's cool.
That could be an Ed McGuinness thing.
Like a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope we get an action figure of this. Damn.
Oh, we will.
Hasbro's been putting out some very modern action figures lately, so it's possible.
It's the whole reason they do this.
It's almost like anime, like the way the proportions are.
And
Like
with
a little
I
Astro
was
Boy.
thinking it looks very David LaFuente.
Yeah, agreed. Just the way the proportions are. Yeah, I can see that.
Cool.
So the the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man is going to be written by Joe Kelly and Justina Ireland. We already knew that, and we knew that Ed McGuinness and Gleb Melnikov would be joining them on the art side of things, and there are other artists to be announced, but what we didn't know is the costume and, of course, the concept of the 8 Deaths. I don't actually like this at all.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, this is not what I was hoping for. This isn't what I'm looking for. I think this is really bizarre. I don't understand why Spider-Man is the one that Doctor Doom would recruit to get to fight with these evil lords or demons or whatever it is. That seems like it's outside of Spider-Man's wheelhouse, and I would really rather not do this, but it is what it is.
They had recently, there was I a Doctor Doom story with Spider-Man. There was like a Doom versus Doom 2099, and Spider-Man got caught in the middle of it. I think it was right after Slott, maybe Spencer, early Spencer. But there's at least precedent to Doom and Spider-Man crossing paths.
Excuse me. There's one of my actually very first issues of Amazing Spider-Man that I ever picked up was a Doom, Captain America, and Spider-Man crossover in the Amazing Spider-Man. And it's when Peter and MJ have to meet at an airport, and there's a terrorist attack in the airport as Doom and Captain America are coming through, and Cap is escorting Doom, and Spidey has to jump in and help save the day or whatever, and they have like a relationship talk in the middle of it. So I don't know, Spidey and Doom have history. Like,
do we know if Doom is going to be in the Sanctum Sanctorum as his point of his home base once he becomes Sorcerer Supreme? Because then he'd be in New York, and that kind of makes sense too.
Actually, yeah, because then you have to be, because then what, he's going to be in, Liberia and stuff, just kind of.
If you have the Sanctum, you can just go in and out of everywhere.
That's true. Yeah, teleport around.
Does that anyway.
Right.
Right. He's got the time platform, the platform. DV says, I mean, Spidey and Doom do have history, but not a relationship. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think they have a relationship. Every character in Marvel has history. That's Marvel.
And especially with Spider-Man.
Right. So I still think it's pretty odd that this would be the collab, but I'm not gonna shy away from it. I'm going to, it's Spider-Man. What the hell? I'm gonna read it. There's no doubt. What do you guys think of the concept of Doom becoming the Sorcerer Supreme?
I haven't seen it before, but it feels like it's been done, and maybe that's just an expectation on my part in the world of comics. So, that aside, I think it's cool. I think he's magic based, and so being able to get like a level up to this degree and to this extreme, it'll be interesting to see how that affects his character and maybe some of his villainous nature.
I feel like it's about time we had a Sorcerer Supreme that was responsible with the magic usage. Stephen Strange he's a loose cannon.
He keeps losing it, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that too. He keeps dying. Like, what are you doing, dude? Doom will bring structure to it.
I would have been really interested in this about 10 or 15 years ago.
When it happened.
Like, they have swapped Sorcerer Supremes so many times. Like, Cleo was just the Sorcerer Supreme, 2 years ago?
Yep.
Dr.
Voodoo was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in the late 2000s, early 10s. Yeah. And I was into that because it was something that was actually new to me at the time. But this is old hat. I really don't care at all about that. I think, I'm really tired of Marvel just swapping and throwing different people under different, designations. Like, Doom is Doom. He doesn't need to become the Sorcerer Supreme. He could just be Doom. That's already cool. But yeah. And how we get to the point where everybody is kneeling before Doom, that is an interesting question. I assume that that's not real. Like, that's not actually going to happen. But
I mean, he has the power. Maybe he does something to some issue. Maybe he does it for his own ego.
That's his Pinterest board for visualization. He's visualizing his dreams.
I agree with Dan. After Hickman made Doom literally God, it all feels like a downgrade. It just, how do you do something bigger than that? Being the Sorcerer Supreme is not bigger than that. My man took Thanos' fucking skeleton out of his body with his hands.
And that's the problem they're at with Doom in the MCU, I think, too, is just like, why Doom, and do we want to waste him? any comics reader is going to be like, well, I've seen it and it was better then.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we'll see. We will see. And again, as far as the creative team, we don't we know the one for Spider-Man. I already said it. It's Joe Kelly and Justina Ireland and Ed McGuinness and Gleb Melnikov. Who's going to tell the story of Doom? I assume that's going to be told across several different books because he'll have influence.
Mm.
And I would imagine that if there is an anchor book, it'll be Jed McKay's because he's the guy right now,
Oh, all right. Got me out.
right?
His strange stuff is supposed to be pretty good, isn't it?
That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
It is
Maybe
good,
that's
yeah.
an angle he's a little bit better suited for than what he's doing now.
All right. So that is the biggest announcement that we got from Marvel, but they did have a few more things to push through. The West Coast Avengers are coming back.
Whoa.
Okay. Right? So West Coast Avengers. Ultron
Oh,
is going to be a member of the team.
Okay.
right. Okay.
This team is centered around reforming villains.
I'm sure this is a great idea.
Okay. And the creative team is Jerry Duggan.
I'm out.
Damn.
All that set up just for me to get to that moment. That's exactly what I wanted. And Danny Kim is on art. So the team in the book, the characters we're going to see are Spider-Woman. We've got Spider-Woman on the team. We've got War Machine. We've got Iron Man in a really cool throwback, like Iron Centurion style costume. Silver Centurion, not Iron Centurion. And then who is this last character?
Is it Firestar with the new costume? I can't quite tell, and I didn't see any discussion on who that is in any of the press releases. But
Yeah.
I think it could be Firestar.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
And the article that we're pulling from comicbook.com doesn't say.
I tried finding out. Yeah, I couldn't see it.
Yeah. I don't know who that is. Look, I like Jerry Duggan. I know that a lot of narrative around Jerry Duggan has soured since the Krakoan era and the stuff he did there. I'm a fan of his, and his Iron Man run was strong. So this is essentially a continuation of that because at the end of it, there was this idea that he would form a new team. I am all out on the idea of Ultron being redeemed. I have complained about the redemption of these villains a lot. And this is one of those that doesn't make a lick of sense. You cannot redeem Ultron. What are we doing?
Yep.
Who are these characters going to fight if we're just going to redeem everybody?
Sean, have you ever factory reset something? Easy. This is an easy one to redeem. New software update.
Yeah, with the recent CrowdStrike effort, huh?
Yeah.
Ultron tried to launch all of the nukes in the United States. And he's redeemable. But Hank Pym is not.
I don't think Ultron beat women. I'm just saying,
This is dumb. This is just dumb. I'm just as excited as I was for the DC side of things, I am the exact opposite for the Marvel stuff. This is exactly the kind of announcement that I go limp for. This is the kind of announcement that I just can't stand. I'm so tired of Marvel doing things like this. It doesn't make sense.
Got no heat.
For me, it's
Not
just,
for me.
For me, it's just like, sure, that is the press release that they're giving, but this is going to bite them in the ass. Ultron is the original sin of the Avengers, and trying to redeem him, sure, temporarily, will probably happen. There'll probably be an arc or two where he's a good guy, but it's just going to blow up in their face. And, that's the story I want.
But if that's the case, then this is, you know, a 12 issue whatever series, or
Sure.
maybe like it has a couple issues, and then you're in and you're out.
I think
No, I
that's
spent my
fine.
money.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I mean, good. That's what you're getting,
Yeah.
but they don't need fine.
Right.
They need to absolutely smash.
Thank you, Kale. Jesus Christ.
Like Firestar on any team, I'm sorry, is just not hype.
Allegedly, we
No,
cannot confirm.
it's Firestar. It's fire. It's in the solicit.
Oh, is it okay?
Um, who cares? And even like, I'm sorry, you know, say what you will about Jerry Duggan. Maybe it's just my bias, but I don't see a lot of praise on him. So like, it's not even like, to me there would be that's enough reason to get somebody else, get anybody else.
Here's the thing, though. Like, on the internet that I've seen and the podcasts I listen to, the hype around his Iron Man is there. I hear it's very good, and from what you've read, Sean, you've enjoyed what you've read, right?
Yeah.
And this essentially just being a continuation of that book with a different name. Sure. So I think there's at least want for it. I think it's selling well. If they can transfer the sales over from his Iron Man run into this, then sure. It's nothing mind-blowing or earth-shattering. It's a very much 2024 Marvel move to do.
Why is it being announced at San Diego?
Because they got nothing else to announce besides the movies that are going to happen tonight.
Then what are they doing?
They're coasting right now. They're west coasting.
Why bother?
Yeah, like this is indefensible. I'm tired of Marvel coasting. I don't want Marvel coasting. Marvel has no compelling villains right now. To the point where the villain of Blood Hunt is fucking Blade / a random vampire that no one has ever heard of before, that no one gives a shit about. Ultron is a character you can legitimately build a story around that people would like to read of him as a villain, but instead of doing that, they give us this, and I don't give a fuck about it. Amin Perez makes a tremendous point in the chat. If they changed his programming and make him safe, is it even Ultron at that point? Like that's Vision or any other android. Exactly. When you take the villainous aspect out of a character, you are fundamentally altering that character. It's not the same person. The point of Ultron is that he is bad. He exists to say something negative about the Avengers. But if you make him good, then that's all erased. Then what's the point?
I'll preface this by saying I'm not really that excited for this book. I'll probably check it out because
Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You don't have to.
Can't you still tell that story though? Like,
At
isn't
1
it
p.m.,
okay?
you want a Devil's Advocate.
Yeah,
when you
sure,
just
why
said they're West Coasting.
Yeah, sure, why not? It's keeping me.
We have a whole other
keeping me up.
podcast to
If
do.
it's a
You want
genuine
Devil's
thought, I
Advocate.
want to hear it. But if you're just Devil's Advocate,
No, it
then-
is a genuine thought. It's like, I know what you're saying, Sean, and that, you know, what's the point? But shouldn't that story, like, isn't there a place for that story to be told to give you a point for that, give you reason for it?
what do you mean reason?
Well, the idea, like Amin brought up, like, who is Ultron if he's a good guy? Isn't he just Vision? Isn't there a story there to talk about that?
No, because we have Vision. Vision is that. That's the point of Vision.
But I'm saying that he can have that kind of inner turmoil, or that discussion could be had.
But Tyler, as calmly as I can, Vision exists for that exact reason. That is the exact specific reason that Vision was created. When you take Ultron and you swap him, you get Vision. That's the point. So if they're telling that story was told 40 years ago, and a character exists for that. There's no reason to take Ultron and do the same thing they already did. It's the same character.
Their brainwaves are bottled after different people, though. All right. Yeah, I'm going to get into Marvel lore there, so we don't need to go into that much of a devil's advocate. But I'm just saying the story can be told, and there can be something compelling there if done well.
I'm sure Jerry Duggan got a paycheck for it.
Yeah, I hope so.
DV, what if the Vision had a nice dad?
It's a joke. The joke. And to be honest, it's not going to get much better as far as the Marvel announcements go. They also announced a brand new young superhero team. This was actually announced at a retailer lunch that they hosted, and CB Cebulski let them know about a book that doesn't even have a title. It's just they just showed a group of characters, young characters, and they're going to try to change the world. That's literally what the promotion art. You got the promotion art with all the characters, and then juxtaposed with that, it says "Change the World." Coming 2025. The art was provided by Luciano Vecchio, and it features a whole host of young characters. You've got Spider-Boy, Kid Juggernaut is there, a young Moon Knight, a woman Magneto, a male Miss Marvel.
Mr. Marvel.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of heroes we already know, but young.
They're the characters that were made for that New Warriors
A lot of them
initiative,
were,
yeah.
yeah.
And I know Phantasma, the Ghost Rider in the middle, is going to be showing up in a Robbie Reyes special coming out soon. Sure. You're muted,
Cool.
Marco, if you're talking. Oh, there you go.
Neat, I guess.
It reminds you of that movie, that Avengers Next Gen movie.
Yeah. Next Avengers or something.
Yeah, something. I forget what it is. And I enjoyed that movie, but like this isn't it, so whatever. I mean, this could surprise me, but
It won't.
no, I'll see it when it comes out.
It's hard to judge because we literally don't know much, but I'm hoping this is a part of their kids initiative because Dan Buckley did talk about wanting to make more younger readers comics. So if this is that, aces. I will not complain about that. And so we're not even going to dive too deeply into that, but that is coming. An announcement that I am going to bitch about. The next two announcements, actually, I'm going to bitch about. Because let's say, so DC's announcements, right, were all, hey, new storytelling, big storytelling, really creatively driven concepts, absolute, radical stuff. Marvel, hey guys, Spider-Girl's coming.
Oh shit, Spider Girl?
Are you fucking kidding me? It's not a new series. It's not, it's nothing like that. It's just Spider-Girl debuting in Spider-Boy number 12.
Oh,
It's not a
come
new
on.
series until this issue sells really well and they make another miniseries with Spider-Girl written by Dan Slott.
The same way that they said, hey, fans, collectors, Spider-Boy's coming. Get ready to buy this. And then charged us $4.99 for it. That's all this is. It doesn't feel creatively driven. It doesn't feel, hype or exciting. It's just like, hey, those of you who are crazy collectors and speculators, here's a new character. Get ready to jump on and buy this. That's all this book has ever felt like.
I'm ready for Spider Uncle in 2032.
You got these little saw blade looking things. One of the pictures.
I'm like so checked out of the Dan Slott verse of the Spider-Man world. Like it's all Spider-Verse stuff doing its own thing, and it's just like,
Her,
Stegmaw with the burn of the year. Can't spell Marvel without an L.
Dan's saying it really well. Marvel announces the newest version of stuff you've already seen 100 times. They don't give a shit. Like, it just doesn't feel like Marvel is creatively driven anymore. The next announcement is just as bad. It's worse. Because guess what just came out yesterday? We just got a movie called Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's making a boatload of money, and the conversation around it so far is pretty healthy, and people seem to be enjoying it. So what are we going to do? The same thing we always do. For those of you who haven't believed me before, I told you exactly what Marvel's strategy was to market around their movies. And if you didn't believe me, listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. Marvel is killing Deadpool, Wade Wilson, with Deadpool #7, and they are replacing him immediately with a woman, Ellie Wilson.
What?
They-
Like it's hard?
like
It's his daughter, right, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do this every time that a movie is coming out or comes out. They always kill these characters. This is way more egregious because they announced the replacement of Deadpool immediately. So this is just, hey, let's get rid of Wade and let's have Ellie be Deadpool. Let's just make him a woman right away. Nothing creative, no story to get to that place where it's like, man, this really makes a whole lot of sense. Look at Cap. The goal of Ed Brubaker was not to replace Steve Rogers with Sam Wilson or to replace him with Winter Soldier. The goal was to tell a story. They got to Sam Wilson through meaningful story. This isn't story. This is just, hey, let's just gender swap them. This is bullshit.
Is there any build up to this? Like, I know his daughter exists in the books. I just thought she was much younger. I'm not reading this run. It looks like C.W. Gordon says the run's good, but I don't know enough about it to know if there's any real.
Elo says there's a story there.
Okay.
Just to replace him with a woman. That's it. That's the idea. That's the compelling idea. Deadpool, a character that cannot die.
And that's my biggest thing is just like that's his whole shtick is he can't kill the dude. It's one of his shticks.
I mean, like, the shtick could be that Deadpool is aware that this is what Marvel does and plays on that, but
Sure, yeah.
it's not marketed like that just yet, so maybe. But yeah, I'm just not interested in reading Deadpool, so.
And by the way, it's not about it being a woman. That's not why I'm saying these things. It's because I'm sick and tired of Marvel replacing characters with other characters. They just do it endlessly. It's the only thing they seem to know how to do anymore.
That's all they trust. Nothing too adventurous, Sean. That's a little easy, all right?
Yeah, Tilo. And also, do you think Deadpool will stay dead? No, of course not.
Yeah, exactly.
He just had a movie come out. No, he'll be back in 10 issues.
Tilo, the
Max.
point is not whether he's going to stay dead or not. The point is that it's just a marketing gimmick and it's tiresome. He's not going to stay dead and he's not going to be gone for a meaningful amount of time. And they're likely not going to say anything deep or special about Deadpool with his absence. That's why it's a problem.
Dan Buckley talked about that directly when he did his whole big speech with Marvel, right? Saying that if there's a movie out, they like to have a big event happening in that book to draw people to that book. It just so happens that the event they choose to do is kind of the same thing each time. The death of.
The resurrection is going to happen in Spider-Man issue number 73 or
It's
something.
going to happen in Deadpool 8.
DV says this is probably planned when the series launched. It's still just IP generation for the movies. It can be planned and disingenuous at the same time. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously, it has to be planned. They have to get there.
Right.
It is still a publishing company. They have to write books,
Right.
but it sucks.
Yeah, the plan was to replace Deadpool with his daughter, ostensibly. The plan when Steve Rogers was killed was not to replace Steve Rogers. The plan when Sam Wilson was made Captain America was not to replace Steve Rogers. It was to tell a compelling story. It just so happens that all those things converged at the same time. But we got great stories out of those decisions that felt creatively driven. I don't know.
I'd also argue, especially in the case of Cap, we had a good amount of issues between the time that Cap died and an official takeover of the Captain America moniker happened.
He didn't even want it.
and it changed. He changed it. He made it something else. He made it, something that was modern, something that represented Bucky and the Winter Soldier and everything he'd been through and the modern world all at the same time in the way that Steve couldn't. And then 50 issues later, Steve came back. Like it was a meaningful change.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying the book can't be good. I'm sure there's some people in the chat, Tilo, Cole, CW, saying that the book is good. That's cool. I'm not talking about the quality of the book. I'm talking about the fact that this is from the conception of the book. The question was, I assume, considering that this is happening within the first 7 issues of the run,
and the fact that a movie just came out.
Right. Exactly. It's the machine at work.
Same thing happened 6 months ago, a year ago with Miss Marvel.
Right. And you want to see the machine at work a little more? Marvel announced TVA #1.
Yep.
Which is coming in December. And who's in it? Captain Carter. Where do we see Captain Carter from? The What If show. Who else is in it? Miss Minutes from Loki.
Everyone's in it. Sylvie's in it too. Owen Wilson, whose character I forget.
Morpheus.
And I mean, the TVA in the comics has never really been that much of a thing. So
now it is.
Good.
It's nice to see Spider-Gwen shipped off to another thing.
Yeah. Existing forever, not on a singular plane.
God,
Gambit's in here.
I almost said she's like the troublesome Catholic priest who gets shipped off to different parishes. But that's for...
Yeah, this is just, it's really hard to care about this kind of announcement. And, it's 5 issues. It's written by Catherine Blair. She wrote the Loki show.
Yeah.
Perez is on art. So, cool. And I thought the writing on Loki was quite strong. But so is this a tie-in? Like it says, in terms of continuity, it will be set after Loki season 2. So this is an MCU comic?
Oh.
It says reflecting both the comic book and MCU versions of Marvel reality. What does that even mean?
Is this cementing the comics universe as another universe in the MCU?
Actually, there's an element of that could make sense if you look at Gwen's costume there. She's got that sort of pink fade on her fingers going up from my guess would be from the Spider-Verse films.
Quote, this series will represent an evolution for the Marvel Comics version of the TVA as it is blended with its Marvel Cinematic Universe counterpart, as depicted in the blah, blah, blah. The series will mark the Marvel Comics debut, blah, blah, blah. The mysterious, all-knowing entity who keeps the TVA ticking like clockwork will recruit a new band of heroes charged with monitoring and regulating all realities and timelines. Join blah, 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 blah.
So it's Exiles with the TVA branding.
Sure.
Actually, if I say it that way, I kind of like it. But I like Exiles.
But if it's combining with the MCU, then does this mean there's like the Ultimate Universe just relaunched? We have our mainline. Now this MCU piece are we going to see more further permeation of MCU into the comics then, like extensions? Because this would be a precedent.
It's hard to know what to make of this. And I think we just kind of need to read it to fully have a grasp on what this is meant to be. But we've seen integration before. There's a reason why we have a Black Nick Fury in mainline Marvel. They have done a lot of this kind of thing, but this feels so like in your face and blatant. I mean, it's in the solicit. This is blatant. This is a deliberate desire to make the TVA look like the MCU version, and they're pulling in characters from that. Sylvie had a meaningful reason to exist in the show. What is her reason for existing in the comics? Is she just a variant? I don't know. I know I'm being harsh on all this, but this is how I genuinely feel. I feel like this stuff sucks. I do. I'm sorry. I want to be hyped for Marvel. I want to feel like they're coming from a really creative, exciting place. But who are we hearing from? We're not hearing from creators. We're not hearing about how excited they are to play in the Marvel sandbox and do these big things. We're hearing about MCU tie-ins and killing characters off, which is the same shit we've been hearing for a decade plus. I can't get excited for that anymore. Saying they're killing Deadpool is not a selling point to me.
It's wild that DC sort of returning to the well and returning to old ways of storytelling with Mark Waid and expanding out the universe is so exciting. And even like the parts that are sort of iffy about Absolute is like, okay, there's a lot of potential there. You can tell that the creators are passionate
and they're trying.
Yep.
But what Marvel has is going back to the same puddle they always go back to.
Yeah.
It's not even a well at this point.
Dried up.
Owen Harrison asks, are you talking about the illusion of killing a character? So what I'm personally referring to is marketing schemes that are extremely transparent to a seasoned reader that we see year after year. They've done this countless times. And the fact that they couldn't even bother to let Cody Ziegler and the artist that he is working with, do some story before they get into the death of Deadpool. 7 issues in is an arc and 1. That's how fast they were able to get to the point where they're just killing him. And it's getting faster and faster and faster when they, killing these characters and bringing them back. Miss Marvel came back after a cup of coffee.
Wow, a month later. Yeah.
That's not story. It's not. That's not story. Like, yes, we're reading it in a story, but it's not motivated by story.
And not only that with her, it was like the story happened, and then they mind wiped everyone who had any kind of emotional reaction to that story.
Yeah. I can't get excited for that. And they also announced Psylocke is getting a solo series. So another X-Men book, another title in the From the Ashes era. We're getting a Psylocke book. We don't know much about it. There is an X-Men From the Ashes panel happening today from 3 to 4 p.m. So we will get more information about it. But Psylocke is getting her own series. We don't know if it's going to be Quanon or Betsy. We don't know anything about their relationship or what's going to happen with that. We don't know creative teams. We just know it's coming.
We know Betsy is on X-Force with Rachel because they're a couple. So Captain Britain is...
I think that's been announced. Yeah.
Betsy is Captain Britain still. So there's that. Quanon is Psylocke because she's on the Uncanny team or the X-Men team. I forget. She's on one of the teams, but that's fine.
CW Gordon said, "Oh, sweet. I love Psylocke. I'm back in Marvel."
Hell
Hey.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting to see all these different solo title X-Men books because I think it is what we thought it was. They're building these characters as IP for other media. They're building them as their own superheroes. And I think the Express, like outside of Wolverine, all the other solo titles have been women. Phoenix, Storm. I think it'll be interesting to see what else we have going forward because they want a new one every month. We're going to get it whether we want it or not.
Hope it's good. I'm looking forward to seeing who they announce for the book. Actually, That's a lie. I'm not looking forward to the announce for the book. I don't care. That's the honest truth. I
The
come
other
here to
part of
say the
that,
truth.
the other part of that too is Marvel doesn't even care. Because if they did, they would announce it.
Well, it's getting announced today at the
Okay.
panel.
Okay.
Well, but why do we know about it without the creative team?
I guess they just wanted to tease it yesterday.
I think
Oh,
they wanted to
I-
draw people to the panel.
But that's that's what I'm saying. Like,
They should come together. Package
give
deal.
us the concept at the panel, fine. But the creative team should be on with the title.
Owen Harrison says, I think they are thinking in this way. Why do I need to do something different when sales are stable and better than DC's? Well, I think that that's probably accurate, not in the sense that they're literally saying that to themselves, but in the sense that being number one for so long takes away from some of that need to try hard,
To innovate.
yeah. And I'm not gonna come on this podcast and defend this. I don't care what their reasoning is because it's not creative. It's not coming from a place of let's put out the absolute best that we can. It just doesn't, like, even if that's what they're thinking, the result doesn't give me that impression. And I believe that the creatives involved are doing the best that they can. This is not a condemnation of them.
Right.
It's the Marvel entity itself that I'm criticizing. I don't think Cody Ziegler had the idea, let me kill Deadpool. I believe he was told to kill Deadpool.
They told him to make it entertaining.
Right. Exactly. And that for me is frustrating. And obviously, if you drill down deep enough, Civil War was cooked up at a meeting. These things all happen at those kinds of things. But you know who's there for those conversations? The creators. Scott Snyder is cooking up alongside other creative people what is happening at Absolute. And it feels like that. There's just a difference. But we gotta close this out. So let's get to the last thing we're gonna talk about, which is a little bit of Ultimate news. So we're getting an Ultimate Universe 1 year later, one shot. 1 year in. It's called 1 year in. And that is coming in December. Dennis Camp is gonna write that. We don't know the artist yet. And this is the solicit. It's been 1 year since the Maker was locked away and the Ultimate Universe was left in the hands of his villainous council. In that time, heroes around the world have risen up, determined to fix this broken world. Now, with 1 year left until their leaders return, the Maker's Council launches a bold plan to wipe out these heroes. This oversized one-shot sets the stage for the second year of the Ultimate line and includes the debut of the Ultimate versions of two major Marvel characters.
Interesting. I wonder if this is like a, hey, we're gonna give you guys and catch you guys up to speed for people who haven't yet come into the fold who maybe wanted to give it a second, see what the buzz and stuff is about, and now to jump in on, like, catch people up.
It doesn't read like that. It reads like
I hope not.
setting the stage for the next phase.
It's like
Well,
their
I mean,
timeless book or whatever.
This is the book that's going to clue us in on the villain's response to what is happening in Ultimates and what is happening across the world and what we can expect in the year that's leading to the Maker's return. I think that this is exactly the kind of book that the Ultimates line needs.
I'm excited Dennis Camp is working on it. But like the solicit's like, oh, this group of villains that the Maker brought, who we've seen 3 of, like we've not really seen a lot of these characters, and we're halfway through a year already? More than that?
Well, if you look at this cover, right, we see Ron Khonshu, obviously. We see them in Black Panther, and then we see
it's Captain Britain, is it?
Yeah.
Briton,
Yeah.
Briton, I think.
he appeared in Ultimates.
Yep.
All of the rest of them, we haven't seen anywhere outside of the Ultimate Invasion, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's where the Gray Hulks or whatever were. Yeah,
They definitely
So
are
it's
not
kind
in
of
Ultimate X-Men.
right. It's weird to me that all these characters are a part of the Makers Council, and yet we don't ever see them.
That's kind of what I was getting at. I'm like, all right, should I be excited for this? I don't really know who these people are. Like,
Yeah.
Magic's there.
that will
Cool, I
get me to read
guess.
a lot, though.
Neat.
So,
Yeah. I'm excited for this. They also say that the next Ultimates ongoing will be coming either late this year or early next year. So cool.
they don't know the answer to that yet.
Guess not. Great. This is the only corner of Marvel that I genuinely have excitement left in me for at the current moment. Marvel can always turn me around. I'm a mark. But at this moment in time, the Ultimate Universe is the only thing that has propulsion to it for me, the only thing that feels really exciting.
Cohesive, I
And
guess,
it's-
even.
And it's one title at the moment that's holding that together.
Yeah. DV says this just in. Hickman quits Ultimate line as Jerry Duggan and Kieran Gillen take over story.
There it is.
Ultimate
I'll
Mr.
quit.
Sinister. Let's go.
I'll
Yeah.
quit Marvel.
Yeah, I can't handle that. If Hickman leaves abruptly from this shit too, I'm done with Hickman.
Oh,
Because
damn.
this has happened multiple times. It wouldn't
Yeah.
this would be the third time at Marvel where he didn't finish what he started. And then if you go beyond Marvel, he's got what didn't finish? The Black Monday Murders?
Yep.
Manhattan Projects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be done.
Yep.
I'm tired of investing into things that he doesn't finish.
Yeah.
But all right. That is go ahead.
Quickly, one last thing. Roboter says, I want to say something good about Marvel. So PKJ on Hulk.
There it is.
Very good.
There we
They
go.
do have good books that they're publishing right now. San Diego Comic-Con's the time of hype, though, and I feel like on a hype scale, I'll give them a 4 for the Ultimate stuff.
It's like a wet fart for them.
Yeah. Like, if it was just the Ultimate stuff, that's pretty cool. I'm into that. But everything else, it brings it down.
Historically speaking, though, at least recent memory, Marvel has put more emphasis on their New York Comic Con announcements in terms of comics than
That is
San
true.
Diego. So we might just be it might just be a thing where it's like DC is just doing such good shit that it just makes it look bad in comparison. When this might have just been a normal year for Marvel at San Diego Comic Con because they're going to be doing their movie stuff tonight.
Still horribly underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm perfectly whelmed at this point.
All right. We got to get out of here because we have to read or we have to review Deadpool and Wolverine. That means that if you can hear me right now, if you are live with us, in about 10 minutes, we're going to take a little break, hit the little boys' room, and then we will come back live and we will talk Deadpool and Wolverine. Full spoilers. So if you have not seen it, and you want to support us, you could listen to it. You could watch it with mute, if you want to just give us the view. But otherwise, you're definitely going to want to watch the movie and then listen to us talk. But other than that, otherwise, if you're watching us live, we'll be live again around 10 minutes from now. If you're not watching us live, it's already out. So that's the plan. So the next time we'll be live with you is in about 10 minutes. And then we'll be live with you guys again on Tuesday for the Crisis on Infinite Earths book club, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a ton of fun. Finally, I neglected to say this earlier. Tomorrow is our hangout. Tomorrow is our community hangout with the patrons. So if you have access to that channel on Discord, we're going to be hanging out tomorrow.
Well, what time?
1 p.m. I see some surprise. Are you guys surprised? Didn't we agree to this?
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember talking about this. Great. Let's do it. Let's hang. I'm not mad about it.
I'll be in a car, so it might be a little quiet, but I'll be there.
Now I'm looking through our thread. Yeah, we
Our
totally
minutes.
Yeah, we totally did. 28th
Okay.
for our Patreon hangout.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that tomorrow. So hopefully I see some of you guys there. Hopefully as many of you can show up will. And hopefully I see a bunch of you here in a few minutes for our Deadpool and Wolverine review. We're the Comics Pals signing off. Until 10 minutes from now.